Collective, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am the Nosy Witch and this is my channel, Nosy Witch Tarot. If you've been here before, thank you so much for returning, and if this is your first time on the channel, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to read for you today. I do pick a card readings here on YouTube. Just FYI, my readings tend to be pretty long, they tend to be deep dives, so grab a hot or cold beverage of choice and get cozy because we have a lot to get through today. In today's reading, we're asking, what will your very first date with your future boo be like? So in terms of the who, this could be anyone. If you don't have a boo, this could be someone completely new. If you have a boo in mind, but they just don't know it yet, this could be about that person, a crush or potential love interest. It could be someone that you know of that wants to make you their boo, but you just don't know it yet. And to those of you who are in a relationship, you can see if your current boo happens to pop up on this reading, and if they do, you can interpret this reading as yours and your person's next date. As usual, your reading will be split up into two main sections. The first section will be your oracle reading / energy check, and the second section will be your tarot reading, where we will go into further depth. We're going to start the reading by looking at just one card from the City of Dreams Oracle, and this card is intended to represent the overall vibe of this first date, as well as to give you some clues as to who this person might be. We will then be moving on to the tarot portion of the reading, where we will be looking at the first four cards and asking, who is this person? This will be about their energy, how you might know them, where you might encounter them, etc. If you have already met this person, this should offer you some clarity, and if you haven't, this is just to let you know what to expect. Then we're going to be looking at the next four cards and asking, why do they want to take you out? Why do they want to make you their boo? So this is kind of like, why are they into you? Why are they attracted to you specifically? Then we're going to be looking at the final 8 cards, and this will be a deep dive on this first date overall. We're going to be asking, what will your first date with this person be like? We're going to do a deep dive on this energy and give all the juicy details when it comes to the before, during, and after of this experience. We are then going to be ending the reading with some closing guidance from the True Love Oracle, which I thought was a very fitting deck to use for a future boo reading. By the way, yes, I know I'm filming this in November and Halloween is over, but these ghost stickers are just so cute and I wanted an excuse to use more of them, so here we are. Usual disclaimers here, please remember that these are collective readings, not every single detail is going to resonate with you, nor would I expect it to. Always take what's for you and leave the rest for somebody else. If you are finding that nothing is resonating for you, that's just a sign that it is either not your pile or not your reading today, and that is absolutely fine. Not every reading is for everyone, but the readings are intended to be timeless and you are very welcome back anytime. If a person or situation happens to pop up that you are just done with or that you don't wish to hear about, that might just mean you're on a different stage of the timeline as somebody else who picked the same pile as you, and again, that is okay. You do not have to accept anything as your story if it simply isn't. If you are finding at any stage that this reading is more confusing to you than it is helpful, please prioritise your own emotional health and disengage from that pile, or skip the reading altogether if you need to. I promise there will be plenty more readings and plenty of other topics to choose from in the future. With all of that said, let's go ahead and introduce the piles today. Today we actually have 5 piles to choose from. I usually do 4, but today, I don't know, I was just called to do 5, so we're doing 5 and I hope that's okay. I mean, it's going to have to be because I'll already have recorded this at the time that you're watching it, so I don't know why I'm asking, is that okay? Like, it has to be. I'm sorry if it isn't. Also, you are very welcome to choose more than one pile if more than one pile is calling to you. But let's get started without any further hesitation. Over here we have pile 1 and the Considerate Cat's Tarot with the Cowboy Hat Ghost. That is pile 1, the Considerate Cat's Tarot and the Cowboy Hat Ghost. Over here we have pile 2 with the Final Rose Tarot and the Lollipop Ghost. That is pile 2 and the Final Rose Tarot with the Lollipop Ghost. Here we have pile 3 and the Weird Cat Tarot with the Coffee Ghost. That is pile 3, the Weird Cat Tarot and the Coffee Ghost. Here we have pile 4 with the Lucid Dreams Tarot and the Singing Ghost. That is pile 4 with the Lucid Dreams Tarot and the Singing Ghost. And here we have pile 5 with the Lovely Ladies Tarot and the Reading Ghost. That is pile 5 with the Lovely Ladies Tarot and the Reading Ghost. Once you've chosen your pile or your piles, please head to the pinned comment or the description box below. Timestamps will be listed there for the start of your oracle reading and the start of your tarot reading. With all of that said, I hope you enjoyed this reading today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. If you get a chance, please like the video and leave me a little comment letting me know what resonated for you, or just let me know which pile you picked if you don't feel comfortable telling me what resonated specifically. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. I'm slowly making my way to 1,000 subs, so every single sub helps me out a lot. I appreciate you all, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you at your chosen pile collective. Hi, Pal One Collective. If you chose Pal One and the Considerate Cats Tarot with the Cowboy Hat Ghost, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. So, this reading is all about what the first date with your future boo will be like. If you would like a full reading breakdown regarding everything this reading will entail, I recommend checking out my introduction. I go through absolutely everything there. But we are going to be looking into the overall vibe of this date as a whole. We're looking at who this person is. You might know them, you might not know them yet. We're going to be looking at why they want to make you their boo, what is it about you that makes them want to take you out on this date, and then we're going to be doing a deep dive on the before, during, and after of the date itself. I did all my usual disclaimers in the intro, but it's a collective reading, not everything will resonate. Take what's for you and leave the rest for somebody else. Without hesitation, let's get started with your oracle reading and let's have a look at the first card we pulled for you. So you may use this portion of the reading as an energy check and for confirmation that you have chosen the right pile. I know that sometimes when we're talking about future tense or energies that you are yet to encounter, it can be hard to know whether a pile belongs to you. I will give as many details as I can during the oracle, but obviously the tarot will be the more thorough portion. I will say that absolutely nothing bad will happen if you choose the wrong pile. All it means is that you get to go back and try again with a different pile. Hopefully the first one you choose will feel right and it will be straightforward for you. But if I happen to say, for example, you and your date could be going skydiving and you know that you would never in a million years go skydiving or do anything like that, then maybe that's a clear sign that it's not your pile, just as one example. So just go in with an open mind, see how you feel. If anything doesn't feel right or it doesn't feel like your vibe, you are very welcome to pick again. Anyway, let's officially get started. I actually firstly want to address the sticker before we look at your card because you have chosen the cutest little cowboy ghost. So to give a few specifics right off the bat, none of these have to apply, by the way, but it's just a little bit of extra confirmation if they do. So somebody could be a fan of country music here, or there could be some kind of connection to old-fashioned country and western movies. I'm also seeing pictures on social media of someone dressed up like a cowboy or girl, so it could be you or this person has worn fancy dress or worn a costume similar to that in the past, maybe even for this Halloween that's just passed. It could be that this person reminds you of an actor or actress in a country film or a particular country singer, or if that kind of thing is a shared interest, there could be something about meeting or hanging out at a country and western fair or festival. If it's not that, it's possible that you or this person just has a particular item of clothing that is reminiscent of that sort of western style, which I suppose is quite unsurprising because I feel like that style has kind of made a comeback. It's been sort of popular over the past couple of years or so. So it doesn't have to be that you dress like a cowboy or they do. It could just be that they have one item that kind of reminds you of that style, like boots or a particular shirt. Or if it's not that, they might just have one item of clothing that they wear a lot to the point it seems like an integral part of them, and you almost never see them without it, like a specific hat or a particular jacket that they wear a lot. It's kind of like how a cowboy would look completely different without his cowboy hat. Maybe there's something that this person wears or a way they style their hair or whatever, and you're like, I can't imagine this person without XYZ. So those are just a couple of confirmations before we get started, but let's take a look at our oracle card now. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move the tarot cards to one side so we can focus on this oracle card. Okay, we have candle magic. So I'm getting a couple of messages. The first message I heard was intimate, and the second message I heard was this is a date. Now, with me hearing that and with us pulling this candle card, I wouldn't actually be surprised if this was some kind of candlelit dinner at a nice restaurant. I'm seeing a kind of dimly lit room, but it has a very cozy atmosphere and there are these cute flickering tea lights at the table. It definitely seems like this date will be at night, in the evening, or when it's dark outside at least. And I'm getting the image now of rain pattering against a window outside, but it's like you and this person are inside somewhere warm and cozy, enjoying some drinks or some food by candlelight. And I'm hearing the phrase table for two, so I think this refers to the other phrase we got, intimate, because it seems as though the vibe of wherever it is you go is almost sort of set up perfectly for couples, or it's just the right kind of pleasant atmosphere for you guys to be enjoying a first date. As in, like, even in terms of the table sizes, which I know sounds weird, but I said I would try and go into like specific details here. But one example I'm getting, like I went to Wagamama's the other day, and you know how at a restaurant like Wagamama's, when it's busy, you just sort of get put wherever they can fit you. And so if there's two of you, like if there's just two of you or whatever, you might just get put on the end of a random long table. So you could just have a group of like 8 other people on the other side of you, which is fine, but you can kind of hear all their conversations, so you don't really get any privacy. Well, this doesn't feel like that basically. It feels like you and this person might get more of a sort of private table in the corner, or you could get your own little booth. So even if there's a lot of other people around, there's a degree of separation between you and them. So you and this person can talk comfortably without having to shout, but without having to whisper. It feels like you can properly focus on each other. You could also be quite close together, but it's not uncomfortably so. It's not sort of crammed in like sardines. I'm also picturing two faces lit up by candlelight. So maybe it's like you can see each other quite clearly, but the surrounding restaurant or wherever it is you're at is quite dim and your attention isn't taken up by other things going on around you. And it feels like even if other people are around, they're kind of matching the vibe of that atmosphere, if that makes sense. Like there's a certain expectation of the atmosphere being chilled and calm and fairly quiet. People are just enjoying their food and having these kinds of quiet conversations. It doesn't feel like you're having to compete with other diners or shout over the top of them, like, what was that to your date, basically. You know how sometimes you go out to eat somewhere with a friend and you're trying to tell them a story, but you're just distracted by everything going on around you? Like, because in one corner of the room, there's drunk people on a bachelor party and someone's singing happy birthday next to you, and there's loud music playing, and it's just kind of quite overwhelming and chaotic. Basically, the vibe of this date isn't like that. Everything feels very, I want to say sophisticated, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of urgency here. Like, if this is a restaurant, it doesn't seem like you're being rushed to pay the bill and leave, as just one example. And I'm getting the sense that nobody is really going to want to leave. It's not going to be like, okay, we've had our meal, let's leave. It feels like both people are, as one example, wanting to have a few drinks and a chat afterwards. And this very much this sense of time passing really quickly with this candle melting. It's making me think of like hours passing by, but they feel like minutes. Or there's this sense of like, even if other people are around, it's very easy to ignore them, or it's easy to feel like it's only the two of you in the room. And maybe neither of you really realizes how much time has passed. Like 1 minute it's really busy, and then you don't notice that around you the restaurant has been emptying out. Or someone says, I didn't realize how late it's gotten, or something along those lines. Now, if this is not a restaurant setting, with me getting intimate as one message, it could be that this person cooks dinner for you at their place, and it's intimate because they are inviting you to their home and they're making you feel very welcome and comfortable. Now, obviously, that's probably only going to apply to those of you where you already know this person, because we shouldn't be going to strangers' houses, so just bear that in mind. But also, with me getting like, this is a date, if this person does invite you over, it's not like chicken nuggets in the air fryer, Netflix and chill kind of vibes. It's not in a low effort kind of way. It's like they will actually plan an elaborate meal and execute it in quite a professional looking way. You'll be able to tell that it's not a last minute thing, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Like their place looks tidy, the table is set neatly, they've already bought the drinks you like, and they've already done most of the cooking so that they can be attentive to you. And it's like a starter, it's a main course and a dessert. It's not just something rushed. So this isn't a ploy to kind of do the easiest thing. They are actually making the effort. So if that's the case, this is somebody who knows how to cook, because nobody's going to do that if, all they can make is like beans on toast. So if you know this person who is a foodie, or they enjoy cooking, or maybe somebody who has worked in the food industry as a chef or whatever the case may be, it could be that person. But if it's not that and you know that this person can't cook, then it could be, like we said, them taking you to a nice restaurant, but it's still going to have that very intimate vibe. And I think, regardless of where you're at, it's going to be clear that this is a date, which I know sounds obvious in a first date reading, but what I mean is you're not like, oh, is it a date or isn't it? Like, are we just hanging out as friends or is it romantic? It's like you're going to know that this person has asked you out or is courting you or whatever the case may be. Some of you also could be witches, or you could be into candle magic, and maybe this date is something you've been manifesting. This could apply to those of you, especially who have dealt with low effort or confusing first dates. Maybe you've been using candle magic to manifest a date that just goes smoothly, and this seems like it's going to be it. There's something here, like maybe this is someone who holds a candle for you or has been holding a candle for you for a while. So perhaps someone who has had a crush on you for a little while, or someone you have a crush on if you have someone in mind. That might not apply to everyone, but if you do have someone in mind, it might be them. For others of you, this will be someone completely new that you have been trying to manifest. But what I'm getting is like on this date, the spark is there, the flame is alive. I think you and this person both find each other hot, or maybe you feel warm and tingly around them, or you feel a little flushed around each other. But there's definitely, this sense of mutual attraction there. So that is what I'm getting for the oracle portion of your reading. We are about to move on to the tarot portion. So please bear with me, pal one, and let's get started with that. I hope you are enjoying this reading so far. If the vibe sounds like something you would enjoy, then like I say, we're about to move on to the tarot. Okay, I'll see you in your tarot reading. Hi, Bar One Collective. Welcome back to the tarot portion of your reading. Without hesitation, let's have a look at the first 4 cards we pulled for you. So we're going to be looking at these first 4 cards and we're asking, who is this person? How might you know them? Some of you, like we said, you won't know who this is yet. This is maybe somebody new entering your life. And if that's the case, this is just who to look out for. But if you already know them, this could be confirmation of that person in your life. Okay, so let's have a look. We have got the Mother of Pentacles, which is the Queen of Pentacles. We've got the Father of Pentacles, which is the King of Pentacles, which is crazy because this deck was incredibly well shuffled. We have got the Eight of Cups. And we have got the Emperor. Okay. Okay, pal one. This is actually a really promising start. I like this energy. This person is somebody who mostly has their shit together, to be quite honest. So if you're like, I cannot name one singular person who has their shit together in my life, it is possible that this is a person who hasn't yet entered your life, but equally, this could be someone who you know who maybe doesn't have their shit together yet, but they will do when they ask you out, okay? So it could be either or. This person could be a little bit older than you with this Emperor, although that does not have to be the case. But regardless of age in biological years, this person is showing up as very mature and down to earth and quite level-headed here, to be honest. This person, I want to say, is very much in their masculine energy, but they do also have, you know, this Queen of Pentacles showing up. So I think it honestly seems like they have a very healthy mix of both the masculine and feminine energies. And it really doesn't matter what this person's gender identity is, by the way, that's irrelevant. But they are going to be taking on the more masculine role here. So they're the initiator, they're pursuing, and they're going to be wanting to provide. So this is a person who is coming prepared to pay for the entire date. They're not going to ask you to split the bill or anything like that. It's very much given like, don't worry, I've got this, it's already sorted, that kind of vibe. However, they're not showing up as toxically masculine, by which I mean they're not going to be doing anything to make you feel uncomfortable for the sake of preserving their own ego. Like, if you were to tell them that you would prefer to split the bill because it would make you more comfortable to do so, they're not going to say, no, we're not splitting the bill because that would make me feel weak and emasculated. It's more like they will naturally take the lead, but if you are directing them, they are also happy to take your directions on board. They're not being like a control freak who decides everything. They're someone who takes initiative, but they're also someone who will check in with you to make sure you're happy and comfortable too. It's this really nice balance of energies. This is a person who I want to say is very intuitive, but it's in a way that is rooted very much in the physical. This could be someone who is good at reading body language and things like that, as just one example. But it's more like, I'm getting the sense, this is a person who's going to pick up on what you need before you ask them for it. They're very tuned into their environment and what is going on around them, but it's not in a way where they are distracted by the things going on around them. It's like they're very much able to focus on you and your conversation and make eye contact whilst also being able to monitor the ambience of the room and make sure that things are flowing smoothly in your general environment. I don't know how to explain it, but you know, sometimes you might have a first date where, let's say, somebody talks for 10 minutes solidly about themselves and they haven't paused for breath, nor have they asked you one single question, and they're not self-aware enough to realize that maybe you're getting bored or you're zoning out or something like that. Well, this person is almost the opposite of that. They're going to be very tapped into your needs. I want to say they are quite self-contained and good at moderating themselves or monitoring themselves to some degree. It's not really in a way that is necessarily strategic, but they have a sense of like, as just one example, if they're telling a story, they're like, well, if I'm telling this particular story on a first date, I'm going to do the shortened version so that it's engaging and funny, because I'm aware that if I tell the whole story, it's going to be very, very boring for pal one, and they want to make this a good experience for you. This could be even the kind of person who interjects themselves a lot. Like, if they're telling that story and they're realizing that it could be perceived as boring or not an appropriate story to tell on a first date, they would be the kind of person to acknowledge that partway through. Like, let's say they're talking about what they do for work and they're realizing that their explanation is becoming quite long-winded or it's getting super technical. They're the kind of person who will be like, sorry, I know this is super boring, but basically I do XYZ. And then they will shorten it. And then they're like, but tell me about what you do. It's something along those lines. Doesn't have to be that specific example. But this is also the kind of person who would, if they notice your glass of wine is nearly empty, they'll make sure it's filled up without you having to say anything. And it is almost intuitive because the whole time they might not have taken their eyes off you, but they just know when to do the right things at the right time. With all these pentacles coming through, this could be someone who is doing really, really well for themselves financially, or they will be at the time you guys connect. This person could have their own business, like they're a businessman or woman, or if not that, they are just this solid, stable person. They are independent. They're in a place to take someone out and create something solid because they are doing well for themselves. They know how to take care of themselves, and so they're ready to be able to take care of someone else. This person definitely doesn't come across as a risk taker, so I think if they're asking you out, they are serious about you, and it's definitely with the intention of building something solid. This seems like the kind of person who, when they do things, it's with purpose, and they have a goal in mind, so I don't think they're asking anyone out just to keep themselves occupied. It's more because they see you as somebody they could build something with. And obviously, we will talk about why they're into you when we look at the next few cards. But basically, I think this person is looking for an equal, with us getting both the Queen and the King of Pentacles. And I really don't see this as somebody who is dating multiple people at the same time or anything like that. And I actually personally don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with dating a few people at the same time. Like, if you're just casually getting to know people, and if everyone is honest and upfront about that, I think that's fine as long as everyone is on the same page. But this seems like someone who is, not just dating for the sake of dating. It's very intentional. I want to use the word intentional. It's like they're getting to know you because they've specifically chosen to get to know you, not because they're interested in people in general, if that makes sense. They're a person who I think likes to focus and invest in one thing at a time. So if you are a similar way, as in like you only like to get to know one person at once and you like to give that specific person your full attention, this is honestly the perfect person for you because they are very careful in terms of who they spend their time with. And I think they like to be around people who share similar principles to them. One thing I'm getting about this person, which is kind of funny, but they could be like very literal. Like, they say what they mean and they expect other people to show up in a similar way. They're not into game playing or anything like that. But it's not even just game playing. It's like, if you're making plans with someone and you say, oh, we'll aim to be ready at around 7ish, but it's more of this casual plan. So that could mean like any time between 7 and 7:45 or something like that. With this person, it's like, if they say, I'm going to pick you up at 6 p.m., they will be there at 6 p.m. on the dot, or maybe even a little earlier. They're there at 5:55 p.m. They're very punctual, maybe a little too punctual for some of you. So, to those of you who are like me and you always end up running late, just be mindful that this person is very organized. So, they might be the type to get a little bit frustrated if you're not on time. I mean, sometimes that can work. Like, if you guys are already a couple, you might know this. Like, one of you is the organized, practical one, and the other is always running around last minute and can never be on time. And that's me. Sometimes it's useful for one of you to be the practical one. But yeah, I don't know why that's coming through, but it's something that might come up. Like, if they come to pick you up and you're like, shit, I'm not ready yet because I thought they'd come just after 6 when they said 6, it's like, no, they're almost too organized. They could also have a very neat home or they like things in a certain place or something along those lines. Some of them could be in a kind of authority position at their job. They get to be the boss or tell people what to do in some capacity. There's some sense of this person having old fashioned values here, but I don't mean anything toxic. I just mean like they're chivalrous or sort of gentlemanly, and it doesn't even matter what their actual gender is or yours is. It doesn't matter if this is a man and a woman, or two men or two women, but this person is going to be like giving you their jacket if you're cold, pulling your chair out for you, that kind of thing. It's like they do these little things that often get forgotten about within modern dating. This could also be someone who is kind of protective, but in a very nurturing way. It's like they'd be the type to double check with you that you have your seatbelt fastened in the car, or they'd be the type to hold your hand to guide you through a busy club so that you don't have too many people crowding your immediate space or something along those lines. This person could be quite tall, but if they're not, they just have a big presence and a big energy and a sort of authoritative vibe. But they use their authority for good, like to be a gentleman or a gentlewoman, whichever applies. When you go on a date with them, it could be that it's at a time when one or both of you has walked away from something else. So this person or you could be divorced or separated, or you've both been in a long-term relationship that has ended. This person or you could have children from a previous marriage, although that does not have to apply. Or if it's not that something has ended at the time you guys get together, it could be that there's maybe been a couple of false starts with you and this person. Like maybe there were a couple of times when you thought that a date was going to happen, but then it didn't, or plans fell through, something got cancelled, and you didn't end up connecting with this person for whatever reason. But it feels like the energy they're in now, like they're very serious about pursuing this. And I don't mean that they meet you once and they're like, we're going to get married. So don't get freaked out. But it's more like they're not just passing time, is very much the message that I'm getting here. So let's have a look at the next four cards, and we're going to be looking at why this person wants to take you out or make you their boo. What is it about you that has them feeling this kind of way? Okay, so we have got the Three of Cups. We've got the Seven of Pentacles. We've got the Two of Wands. And we've got Strength. There's something about mutual friends here or socializing being significant. It could be, if this is someone from your past, it could be that they're reuniting with you at this event, and that's when they're like, I want to ask out pile one, or I want to get to know pile one better. If either of you were in relationships before, it could be that when you meet back up, you're both single, so now the time is right. So maybe it's triggered by them bumping into you somewhere, seeing you somewhere, and thinking you look really good or that you're doing very well for yourself. If it's a new person, it could be like a friend of a friend kind of vibe, and them wanting to be introduced to you or something like that. But it definitely feels like they're going to be encountering you at some kind of celebration where maybe drinks are flowing, people are enjoying each other's company. Obviously, for some of you, this will have already happened. Like, if you already know who this is and you're already talking or whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely getting something about parties or gatherings, festivals, and general festivities being significant here. Remember, we're all going to be on different timelines here. So for some of you, like I say, this has already happened, and for some of you, it's yet to happen. But if you've already socialized with this person to some degree, it could be that you noticed they were trying to talk to you or give you some kind of attention. Like maybe you felt some kind of a vibe there, but something didn't really get off the ground. And it's because I do think this person is careful and they like to have a good think about things. I think they're also very logical as well. And I don't think they'd ever want to make you feel uncomfortable. So if they felt a vibe, they could be the kind of person who wants to make sure that you feel the same before coming in and asking you out. So they could be talking to mutual friends about this in some instances. But I think it's mainly they're taking stock, like with the Seven of Pentacles, they want to have a plan in mind before just coming in and offering something. So there could be a little bit of a gap between the time you encounter each other and the time they actually ask you out, because I don't think they want to come across as like too full on with this. When they do take initiative, don't get me wrong, they're going to really take the lead, but I think this is someone who likes to know that it's okay to take the lead. And if they don't know you that well, they don't want to come in straight away and be like, hey, let me take you out, if they don't know that you're into that, because they don't want to come across as like a creep. So it could be that there is a little bit of a pause here and you're like, wait, what? I thought this person was going to ask me out right away. Like, I thought we were vibing. You know, maybe I misread the situation, but I don't think you did misread it. You just might not be used to experiences with someone who really thinks about things like this. And I don't mean it like you're inexperienced or anything, but I think particularly if you identify as a woman and you date men, as one example, that doesn't have to apply, but this is just one example as somebody who has experienced that. It's often portrayed in society as like, oh, men are hunters, they'll go after what they want, so if they don't want you. But it's like, okay, but who wants to be hunted? Like, yes, I might want to be pursued, but hunted. And I think that's the thing of like, some men will only think about what they want, and if they want you, they'll go after you regardless of your comfort levels. And I don't actually think that's a good thing. And this can look like things like unwanted touching or unsolicited messages or images, or somebody being very pushy with you, or, you know, demanding your time and energy and conversation, even if you've expressed your disinterest in giving them those things. This person isn't like that, and it's because they're respectful. This person is happy to be the initiator, but ultimately, before they step into that role, they're checking in and asking, is this someone who wants me to initiate first and foremost? Because they want this to be an equal partnership. And I think sometimes as women, we can be conditioned to think it's somehow a compliment. If a man keeps trying with us after we say no or after we express a boundary, and I'm not saying that you believe this or that I believe this, and I think things are definitely moving in a different direction now, but I know sometimes people try and frame men who keep asking us out or keep trying with things even when we said no. Sometimes people give those men an excuse and they might say to themselves, well, he must really like me or he must really, really be attracted to me. And I want to say, like, yes, it's nice when people find us attractive, but no, it's not a compliment if someone repeatedly ignores our comfort levels and our desires and our autonomy as human beings in favor of trying to get what they want. And like I say, I do think this is a thing that is talked about a lot more now, but it's sometimes hard for this to sink in when it's been so ingrained, is all I'm trying to say. But it's crazy to me as someone who has pursued people in the past. Like, someone only has to say no to me one time, and I'm like, oop, okay. Because I would never want someone to be with me knowing they're not actually attracted to me. Like, I wouldn't ever want to be intimate with someone because I'm attracted to them, knowing that they're not really into me in the same way, but they're just agreeing to be intimate out of pity or because I'm a really nice person. Like, what's actually really attractive about this person is they care about whether you're into it as much as they're into it. They're not just like, I'm going to get pal one on a date with me to conquer them in some kind of way. It's like they genuinely see this as a mutual collaboration. So with this Seven of Pentacles, it's like they want to come in and finish what they started. So if you guys were vibing and then there was a pause, they want to sort of pick up where you left off. If you guys were ever in the process of making plans and they got put on hold for whatever reason, this person wants to come back in and say, hey, like, let's rearrange that date that we never got to do. It feels as though for maybe just one or two of you, something got started and then this person had to leave, or they had to emigrate, or they had to go somewhere else for a job. But maybe now they're coming home and they want to pick back up where you guys left off. Like, maybe something that couldn't happen here because when you guys met, one person was going traveling or going to live elsewhere and it just wouldn't have worked. But they've still been thinking of you, and maybe now they're coming back and they want to try to make that work. They want to ask you out because they feel like you guys would just work really well together. I think they think you have a similar vibe to them. They could also like the fact that maybe you're a little bit more fiery than they are, if that applies. It doesn't have to, but maybe you have some fire in your chart and they have more earth or something along those lines. They want to make you their boo because they see you as confident but also compassionate. This isn't the kind of person who wants to go for like the most timid person in the room. And that doesn't mean you have to be super extroverted for this to apply. But I think it's just that they think that, oh, like you've got a spark or you've got something about you. Because some people will purposely go for individuals who come across as shy or self conscious because they might feel like those people are easier to control or easier to dominate. But this is someone who loves your confidence, and it's the type of person to enjoy just seeing you shine. They're not going to be trying to make you small in any kind of way. And they can see that, like, even if you do have a shy side, or even if you are more introverted on the surface, they can see that you have this inner strength and a confidence about you that just really appeals to them. I think they find something about your character very, very hot. They could like that you are someone who is able to take control and make decisions in your own life. They might feel like you'd be the one to tame them or something like that. If they've been in a period of not having too many serious relationships or not wanting to settle down, when they met you, they felt like you're somebody who would make them want to settle down. They could see that with you. They could also feel like they need the courage to talk to you or to pursue you. Some of them feel like they'd have to work for it or they'd have to be patient. They couldn't just come rushing in with any old offer. But they like that about you. They kind of like that they have to persevere as long as they know that you're as into it as what they are. It's like they're happy to work hard for you and to make the effort and really nurture this connection. So let's have a look at the date. We're looking at the before, during, and after of this experience. So this is all about your date. We're going to be looking at 8 cards. We're maybe going to be talking about how you're feeling or how this person's feeling and the general vibe of this encounter overall. So let's spill the juicy tea on what it's going to be like, part 1. Okay, so we have got the Daughter of Wands, which I believe is the Page of Wands. We have the 6 of Cups. We have the 9 of Swords. We have the 7 of Swords. We have the Tower. We have the Son of Wands, which is the Knight of Wands. We have the Ace of Cups. And we have the Mother of Wands, which is the Queen of Wands. Okay, I love this energy overall for you, Pal One, because this feels very, very exciting. I'm almost getting that the before of this date being very much like a high school crush sort of situation in the sweetest way possible. Because with this Page of Daughters, which is the Page of Wands, it's making me feel again like friends or mutual people you know might be involved, and it's like they're passing messages between you guys, and it feels like you're getting some kind of good news here because I'm getting this image of someone on their bed like kicking their feet in the air with excitement. And when I said high school vibes, it's making me think of someone getting their friends to talk to their crush. Like, can you find out if this person is into me? Like, will you ask them who they have a crush on to see if you can find something out? So this could be you or them, or honestly, kind of both of you. Like, I definitely think obviously the attraction and the feelings are mutual. So it could be both of you not really being too sure about how the other feels and trying to get information in that way. And in high school, if you knew one of your friends had a crush on someone, you'd get super invested and excited on their behalf and you'd report back to them with the slightest thing. You might go up to them like, oh my God, your crush was in a relationship. Well, I just overheard one of their friends say that they'd broken up. So you're in there, go and get them. It's like that kind of thing. Someone is reporting back to you with the gossip or whatever, but it's good news. I'm seeing someone anxiously awaiting news or being by their phone to read a message or take a call straight away. I'm also seeing screenshots. So this could be, like, as one example, your friends DMing you what this person has said, and they're getting almost as excited as you. Like, oh my God, pal one, this person said you're really pretty or that you're really handsome, or oh my God, pal one, they're asking if you're single. It's something along those lines. I'm seeing friends stepping in to try and help decode messages in a girl's group chat or a guy's group chat or something like that. I'm getting this sense of like both parties here are very much mutually interested, but nobody wants to be too much here. But the friends are kind of like, come on, you're obviously so interested in each other. I think they might kind of help get things started or get things off the ground in this situation. But I think when this person does reach out and they do take initiative, you're kind of expecting it and it's something you've been really excited for, but you both play it a little bit cool. Maybe one minute you're freaking out with your friends, like, oh my God, this person said they're going to call me, or what should I do? But when this person calls you, you're just like, hello, how are you? Really casual, like you haven't just been panicking about it. I don't know, it could be that this person also comes in trying to be cool because they don't want to make a big deal of this. And they're like, oh, I was just talking to this person about you. Like, they use this mutual person as an excuse to talk with you or something like that. They use that person as a reason to get the conversation started. Now, one thing I will say, and it's not a negative, it's just extra confirmation of when you might have this date or encounter with this person. But this could be at a time when you have both been through huge unexpected changes within your life, with this Tower card coming through. And it could be at a time where one or both of you have been dealing with some unpleasant energies in terms of other people and situations around you. Now, that might not be for everyone, and this could just refer to one of the energies, like maybe you meet this person when they've just been through, for example, a messy separation or divorce, or their life has been thrown up into the air in some way. Or equally, it could be you or both of you having experienced to some degree like your life has gotten off track. But I get the sense you happen to meet maybe when you're not deliberately looking to meet anyone or when you don't expect it. And the energy that this is given, it doesn't have to be this specific example, but it almost makes me think of like, do you know sometimes if you end a relationship, you might feel a little bit hopeless because let's say you've been with that person for 10 years and then it ends and you're thinking like, I put all my time and energy into this person and I thought my life was going to go one way and now I don't feel like I'll get another chance at love, or I feel like it'll take me years to meet the right person and maybe I won't get a chance to do all the things I want to do, like as one example, marriage or kids, if you see that as part of your path. It doesn't have to be that example. But then once you've processed that situation and you've worked on yourself, it's like a few months later, you go out one random night not looking for anything, and you just so happen to meet your soulmate, and a year later, you're getting married and talking about having a family with them. Like, your life is just so different and neither of you could have predicted it. It's very much given that energy of you both being like, I didn't expect to meet someone now, or I didn't expect to meet someone I click with so soon. Like, I wasn't even looking for that, but here you are. And don't get scared. Like, if you're not interested in marriage or kids, I'm not saying it has to be those things in particular, or, this person is going to start talking to you straight away about that kind of thing. But it's more this feeling of like, where you're going to end up with them, there's going to be that sense of, 2 years ago, I could have never imagined my life this way, or I could never have imagined being as happy as I am, because maybe 2 years ago you were stuck in that dead end relationship or in a career you didn't like. It's very much given the sense of things changing fast here, and you just didn't expect to bump into this person, or they didn't expect to bump into you, and you feel this way. It feels like you're kind of catapulted into each other's lives and you've had this big impact sort of right from the off, and I don't think either person was really anticipating the effect that this connection would have on them. I mean, it doesn't even have to be like either of you have ended a relationship or marriage. It could just be like you had other plans of how your life was going to go and then you met this person. Like, maybe one or both of you thought you wanted to be single or you wanted to go and move to a different country, but then you came into each other's lives and it was like, whoa, like maybe I need to reassess what I want here, because this person has just shook things up in this big way. It does feel like at the time you meet or at the time you start dating, you or this person or both of you are maybe experiencing some worry over like the question of where is my life heading? You're like, I thought things were going one way and now I'm on this different path. But it's like when you date, something sort of clicks into place, something makes sense, and maybe it's in terms of why things didn't work out with another person or in another situation. I think there's something here about you and this person really sharing the same principles, and maybe that's something you discuss on this date, because I think you're both going to be feeling really grateful that you found someone who shares these similar beliefs. Because some of you, I think you and this person are both discerning in terms of who you spend your time with, but I think you struggle to surround yourself with people who truly match your energy. And this could be, love interests, exes, but it could also be friendship circles, social circles, your work friends, and things like that. When you and this person meet, it could be that one or both of you is at a stage where I want to say it's like you're growing out of petty bullshit. Some of you could have had people in your lives who lied or cheated in the past, or you experienced having gossipy, childish friendship circles, and you're just kind of over the immaturity of it all. So when you and this person meet, maybe that's kind of something you allude to on the date, and both of you make it very clear that you're valuing different things now. Like basically, you just want to move away from some kind of game playing bullshit, and you just want to form stable and real connections. So you're both essentially on the same page about that. And I think you're both acknowledging that it's nice to talk to somebody who shares those values, and it's nice to know that both of you want similar things. And again, it could be in regards to an ex, although that does not have to apply. It could be something as simple as this person saying, I've been distancing myself from this toxic friendship group because I don't like the fact that all they want to do is go out all the time, or I don't like the way they treat other people. It's something along those lines, and it makes it clear that the two of you are compatible in that kind of way. It could even be in terms of maybe these old fashioned values that we talked about. So, as one example, if this person pulls your chair out for you, you might acknowledge it like, oh, I love that you pulled my chair out. That's so sweet. And this person is like, I'm so glad that you liked that. Nobody else seems to do it these days. So sometimes people think I'm weird for doing it. It doesn't have to be that exact example, but it's that kind of energy. It could be that some of you, and this might only apply to one or two of you, but maybe some of you have friends that are involving themselves a little bit too much in this connection, especially if these friends initially helped you sort of get this date together, but maybe when the date is planned, you're kind of like, thank you, but your work here is done to these friends, but maybe they're being a little bit nosy and they're asking you, so when are you going out? Where are you going? And what time are you going? What are you wearing? And maybe some of you feel like it's putting a little bit of pressure on the situation. It's making you a bit anxious. Or maybe after the date, these friends are messaging you straight away, like, how did it go? Before you've even had time to process it. So maybe a few of you, you're going to be wanting those friends to back off a little bit, because now that the ball is rolling, you don't really need their interference. And I think in a lot of cases, it's just because they care and they're invested because they're excited for you. But it could just be a bit much. Like maybe you want to keep things a bit more private after that first date. I don't know. And maybe you feel like friends are being a little bit nosy when it comes to this. I think it's from a good place for most of you, but that could be confirmation if you know that you have friends like that. With this Six of Cups, it feels like you guys are also doing a lot of reminiscing and talking about your past and maybe your childhoods as well. So it could be reminiscing if you guys have known each other for a while, and maybe this is bringing up old stories or memories you share. But if it's not, it could just be like this person and you are sharing stories about high school or things to do with how and where you grew up, your families, which makes total sense. I don't think it's like you're dumping all of your childhood trauma on each other or anything like that. I think it's more sort of funny little anecdotes or cute stories like, oh, when I was growing up, me and my family used to do this. It feels more lighthearted and I guess simple in many ways. If you or this person has children, it could also be that you're talking about your own respective children, or you're showing each other pictures like, oh, this is my little boy, he's 6, or this is my little girl, she's 8, or whatever. It could even be with pets if you don't have children or anything like that. There's also something about maybe a gesture of goodwill that you just think is really sweet, but I'm getting that it's something very simple. It's not a grand gesture, but it's something that makes you feel appreciated. So it could be like one of your friends has told this person what your favorite chocolate bar is, and then they turn up on this date with that chocolate bar. Maybe they tell you to hold out your hand and close your eyes, and then they give you this chocolate bar, and they're like, this person told me that it was your favorite. And it's just this really simple gesture. It maybe doesn't cost a lot, but there's this sense of like, it's the thought that counts. It's like they've put thought into surprising you with something they know you'd like. With this Ace of Cups, there are definitely feelings there on this date. I think you both are aware of it. I think there's going to be butterflies and definitely this sense of like, this is the beginning of something here. I think both of you are going to recognize that. Like, this is just the start. You know that this is going to blossom into something more. And for those of you where things between you and this person had to be put on pause for whatever reason, like something didn't get off the ground or it took you a while to plan a date, again, the Knight of Wands refers to like finishing what you started. So this person maybe acknowledges, like, oh, I've been wanting to take you out for a while, or I'm sorry it's taken us so long to make a plan, but I'm glad we are here now. It does feel like this person wants to come in and kind of sweep you off your feet. And maybe that's why it's taken them a while to plan something, because they wanted to do it properly and they wanted to have enough confidence to take that initiative. There's this sense of like they want to make sure that they're the ones to deal with everything, like they want to be your hero and they want to make sure they're coming across as self assured. So maybe they are making sure to pay close attention to what you need from that interaction. I don't know. One example could be like, let's say you're worrying about the bill. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I've not been on a date in a while. Like, should I offer to split it? Are we going to split it? What's going to happen? They haven't said anything. But maybe then you come back from the bathroom and they're like, don't worry, I've got it. So it's like you don't even need to think about it. It's like they sense what you need and just kind of step up for you. I also keep getting a message about you being kind of fiery and them really liking this about you. I think they like that you can hold your own or that you can be assertive. They like that you can tell stories confidently, and maybe they think the way you tell stories is really funny. There's something kind of wild and chaotic yet sexy about you at the same time. And I think you make them feel like they just want to take charge. It could be that they knew that they were attracted to you, but when the two of you got together, you both feel that attraction even more. The passion is definitely apparent here. I think there's a lot of shameless flirting going on, maybe on both ends. And maybe you doing some of the flirting or being charming allows them to take the lead and feel more comfortable doing so, because they're like, well, pal one is giving me the bait and I'm taking it, that sort of thing. There's a lot of flirty back and forth, I think. And I don't want to get so ahead of myself when we're only on the first reading, but with all this energy of like, I didn't expect to feel this way, there's almost this sense of you guys saying to yourself after this date, like, did I just meet my soulmate? I know that sounds kind of dramatic, but I also think it's kind of weird for this person because they are not a risk taker at all. They're not coming across that way, at least. They're usually very grounded, but there's just something here of like, you make them want to dive in headfirst in a way they don't usually. Maybe they weren't expecting this date to go as well as it does, but afterwards you're both like, wow, that was crazy chemistry and we got on so well. What even was that? It kind of throws you both through a loop, but in the best way possible, honestly. So that is all about your first date, pile one. We are going to finish this reading by looking at your true love oracle card. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you. Okay, pile one. We have number 28, self-respect. So the number 28 could be significant in terms of ages or dates, angel numbers, synchronicities. That doesn't have to apply, but it might be extra confirmation for somebody here. And if we want to talk briefly about time frames, it could be that you are hearing from this person in 28 hours from the time you listen to this reading, or you're arranging a date in 28 days, or you have this encounter within 2 to 8 months, something like that. You get the picture. These numbers might be significant to this interaction and encounter. But yeah, self-respect makes sense because, as we've been saying, I think this occurs at a time when you are very much focusing on you. I don't think you're going out looking for love necessarily or thinking to yourself like this has to be the perfect date or anything along those lines. It's as though just the right person for you falls into your lap during a time when you have just been truly working on yourself and you haven't necessarily been looking for this person at all. But I think a big part of why you're attracting this is due to the fact you might have left behind some of the things that weren't serving you, whether it's an ex or a job you weren't happy with or toxic circles. It's like you or this person or both of you have done that, and now in return you're attracting the very best because that's what you're putting out and because it's going to be very clear that you have so much respect for yourself. So that is what I'm getting for your reading, pile one. I really hope you enjoyed this reading today. If you did like the reading, please do me a massive favour. Please like the video. Please leave me a comment and let me know what resonated, or just claim whichever pile is yours. I really hope you enjoyed this reading today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. Oh, if you haven't subbed, please consider subscribing. That is the easiest and best way to support me. I'm slowly making my way to 1,000 subs. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to this, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, pal one. Hi, Pal 2 Collective. If you chose Pal 2 and you chose the final Rose Tarot with the Lollipop Ghost, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. So, this reading is all about what the first date with your future boo will be like. If you would like a full reading breakdown regarding everything this reading will entail, I recommend checking out the introduction and go through absolutely everything there. But we are going to be looking into the overall vibe of this date as a whole. We're looking at who this person is. You might know them, you might not know them yet. We're going to be looking at why they want to make you their boo, what is it about you that makes them want to take you out on this date, and then we're going to be doing a deep dive on the before, during, and after of the date itself. I did all my usual disclaimers in the intro, but as usual, take what's for you and leave the rest. It's a collective reading, not everything will resonate. We are about to get started with the oracle reading. We're about to have a look at the first card we pulled for you. So I'm actually going to move the tarot to one side for now so we can focus on this oracle card. So you may use this portion of the reading as an energy check and for confirmation you have chosen the right pile. I know that sometimes when we're talking about future tense or energies that we are yet to encounter, it can be hard to know whether a pile belongs to you. I will, of course, give as many details as I can during the oracle, but obviously the tarot will be that more thorough portion. I will say that absolutely nothing bad will happen if you choose the wrong pile. All it means is that you get to go back and try again with a different pile. Hopefully the first one you choose will just feel right and it will be straightforward for you. But if I happen to say, for example, you and your date could be going skydiving and you know that you would never in a million years go skydiving or do anything like that, then maybe that's a clear sign that it's not your pile. So just go in with an open mind, see how you feel. If anything doesn't feel right or if it doesn't feel like your vibe, you are very welcome to pick again. Anyway, let's officially get started. Let's talk about this sticker very briefly first of all, in case it gives you a little bit of extra confirmation. So someone here could very much be into their sweet treats. Could be you, could be this person, or both of you. Somebody here has a sweet tooth or they prefer sweet snacks over savory or something like that. It could also be something about someone here is sweet. Maybe somebody here enjoys smelling like baked goods, like vanilla. Maybe somebody here is into gourmand scents or something along those lines. It could also be that this date involves sweet treats of some kind. Like maybe you guys are passing a bakery and someone says, "Should we go in?" and they get you a cake or a donut or something like that. I don't know why, but I keep wanting to say something about you or this person being very expressive here, because with some of these ghost stickers that we're looking at today, if you look at them, a lot of them don't have faces or they kind of have like a blank expression, but this one is kind of pulling this shocked face, and it makes me think that this person might pull that face, but it's in a way where you can tell that they're very engaged in what you're saying and it's actually quite endearing. So it could be like maybe you're telling them an embarrassing story about something that happened to you, and when you're telling this person the story, it's like their eyes go wide and their jaw drops or they cover their mouth with their hands and they're like, "Oh my god, really? What did you do?" It's kind of sweet that they're like fully attentive to the story. I'm also picturing maybe somebody who is giggly or somebody who likes to laugh a lot and somebody whose face is very emotive. Like you can see the emotion written all over their expression essentially. It could even be that this is a person who is easily startled. It could be that this is a person who would gasp or like jump out their skin if you were behind them and they didn't know you were there. I mean, to be fair, a lot of us would do that, like that's a natural reaction. But I am hearing something about being startled specifically. So that could have happened before between you and this person, and they've been like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry, you scared me," or something like that. It's hard to explain, but it could be like you can just tell what they're thinking by their expressions. I'm also getting something about like, this person really, really furrows their brow when they're confused or something like that. Their face changes and they go from one emotion to the next, and you can just sort of see it all over their face. You can see when they're processing something. But with all that said about your sticker, let's actually have a look at your oracle card today and see what we get. Okay, so we have got 1111. Okay, so 1111 or 1111 could be a synchronicity you're seeing a lot of. This date could have something to do with the 11th month, which we're in right now. 2011 could be significant here for somebody too. But okay, I'm getting the impression the overall vibe of this first date, it starts off as more friendly or more of a hangout. And please don't immediately click off the reading because you interpret that as meaning one person isn't into the other or whatever. Remember, this reading is about your future boo, so this is definitely someone you are interested in and the attraction is mutual. And when I'm saying this is more of a hangout, I don't mean that that's all it will ever be or that the two of you will never go on an actual date. No, I don't mean that at all. But what I mean is, when this connection starts and when the two of you first get feelings for each other, it maybe happens when you are not on an official date. But I think when the two of you are together more officially, there will be this sense of maybe one of you saying to the other, well, that was when I first realized I had feelings for you, so I guess that was our first date. Or maybe someone saying, well, I consider it a date, or I wanted it to be a date, but maybe somebody didn't say that because they weren't sure how the other person would feel. Like someone asked someone to hang out as friends, and even though the attraction was mutual, maybe both people were like, is this a friend thing or is this a date? At first, I don't know, it's something along those lines. It won't stay that way forever, but this could just be confirmation of someone like already in your life for those of you where that applies. Or if not, like maybe this is what to sort of expect. But I'm getting that for a lot of you, this is a daytime thing. It doesn't have to be, but because of this 11:11, it's making me think of someone getting ready and then glancing up at the clock when it's 11:11 a.m. I guess it could be 11:11 p.m., but I don't know. I'm just not getting that. Or it could be like when you're on this date, if it's not that, you notice synchronicities, there's weird coincidences, or you happen to look at the time right when it's 11:11. And it could be even that both of you acknowledge this, or one of you is like, oh, it's 11:11, make a wish, or something like that. It could be that both you and this person are into synchronicities or things like angel numbers or dreams or tarot or astrology. Like you could both be quite spiritually open or open minded to those things at the very least. If it's astrology, for example, this could be something you and this person talk or joke about on a first date. Like someone is saying, oh, you're a Libra, well, I'm a Gemini, we're both air, so I guess that makes us compatible. Not that exact example, you can be whatever sign, but it's that kind of thing, like you're joking about it a little bit. Maybe if you're into it, they don't know as much about those things as you, but they're open to chatting about that kind of stuff. It could be that they or you, one of you has a little bit of a superstitious quirk. Like maybe you're walking down the street and, this could be the kind of person who is like, oh, don't step on the cracks. It doesn't have to be that exactly, but it's something along those lines. For some reason, I keep getting the image of two people just having a date kind of meandering around the city. And I think it's because both people want to not put too much pressure on this situation, and you're both happy to kind of go with the flow and keep things casual until there's confirmation that you're both feeling the same way about each other. And I'm getting that because the imagery on this card, there's just such a lot crammed into this tiny space. With this metro card, maybe somebody takes the metro or the train or whatever it is, the tram maybe into the city, and you guys meet up there and you're just walking around enjoying each other's company. Maybe you go on a walk and look at some greenery with this plant, and then you go to check out the bookstore together, and then you go and get a donut from the bakery, and you go and get some coffee. I'm just getting that it's something very chilled, but I think that's what you both want. You're just wanting to have this nice, wholesome day together and enjoy each other's company. If this is someone you're already friends with, maybe you're doing it this way because this is an activity you do anyway as friends, so it doesn't feel weird to do it, but at the same time, you're getting to spend enough time with each other to really see if there is a romantic vibe or something like that. It could even be like if you work in the city with a colleague and you guys usually go on your lunch break together and do some of these things. Obviously, that isn't a date, but it's like you both grow very fond of that time that you spend together, and maybe feelings come up during those moments. So when you're officially booed up with this person, you look back at those moments and you're like, remember when we used to go on our break together every day? I had such a big crush on you back then, or something like that. I'm also getting that someone here could wear an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, or they're always checking the time. That could just be a message for one person. But that is what I'm getting for the oracle portion of your reading. That was a little bit of a vibe check. We are now going to get started with the tarot. And when we look at the first four cards, we're going to be looking at who this person is and their energy in a little bit more depth. I hope you're enjoying listening so far, Pal 2, and I will see you at the tarot portion of your reading. Hi, Pal 2 Collective. Welcome back to the tarot portion of your reading. Without hesitation, let's get started and have a look at the first four cards we pulled for you. So again, we are going to be looking at who this person is in more depth. We're going to be looking at their energy. Okay, so we have got the Six of Flutes, which in this deck is Cups, and we've got Butterflies, the High Priestess, which is the advisor on this deck. We've got the Contestant, which is the Fool. And we have got the Bachelorette, which is the Empress. Okay, that's interesting because these cards, I promise you, were shuffled incredibly well. And yet we've got three major arcana. We've got the High Priestess, the Fool, and the Empress here. So first and foremost, there's a lot of feminine energy coming through here. This does not have to be a woman, For some of you, it might be. For one or two of you, this could be an LGBTQ plus relationship, although this does not have to be the case. If you are not interested in women in a romantic way, it could be that this is a man in touch with his feminine side and he's more emotionally tapped in, or he's very intuitive. For example, this could be a man who grew up in a household with sisters and that gave him like a better understanding of feminine energy and things like that. If this is a man, this is definitely not going to be the type of man who is scared of seeing a bit of period blood, as one example. Sorry, that's just one example. There could be multiple examples, but this is the kind of person who doesn't get easily freaked out by stuff like that. But whereas with in pile one, I said this person's energy was intuitive in a physical sense, this person is very intuitive in an emotional sense. This person can pick up on emotions very easily, and I feel like the two of you understand each other very well on an emotional level. Do you know how sometimes you meet with someone and it's just a little bit awkward because the two of you just don't quite understand each other's communication styles? Like you say something and the person is like, "What do you mean?" And you have to explain that you were just joking or you were being sarcastic or something like that. Well, with this person, that's not going to be a problem. It feels like things are very flowing. If you start some kind of playful banter with them or you're a little bit sarcastic, I feel like they're going to match that energy very, very well. They just sort of instantly get you and kind of pick up on the vibe of the interaction with ease. So this could apply if you guys are flirting, if you're making flirty little comments to each other. There's going to be a really natural back and forth there. But then if you start, for example, telling this person a more serious story, like a sad story, they're going to be good at picking up on what you need in that moment. Like they're not going to try and make it fun or flirty when you're talking about your grandma passing away or something like that. They're going to pick up on what is needed in that interaction, basically. Like with this Six of Cups, I think there's going to be a very playful vibe overall between the two of you. But when it's time to get serious, this person can be serious. It could just feel like a lot of your interactions are based around this shared sense of humor or making jokes with each other and having this banter. I don't know why, but I'm just imagining you and this person looking around shops together, and this will be the kind of person to point something out and be like, "I think you'd look hot in this," and it's like this hideous outfit, and then you do the same thing back and you both kind of continue matching that energy, and it's just really fun. There's this kind of innocence to it. With this particular imagery on the card, maybe somebody is into butterflies or butterfly imagery, maybe somebody has a butterfly tattoo or wears butterfly hair clips or something like that. This person, it seems like they are maybe a little bit of a mystery or there's something slightly unattainable about them. It's an interesting selection of energies actually, because on the one hand, I feel like this person can be kind of goofy, like with the Fool card, and on that one hand, they're very open or maybe even a little bit of an oversharer from time to time. Like maybe they'll tell you an embarrassing story about something that happened to them to try and make you laugh. But at the same time, maybe there's more serious stuff that this person keeps closer to their chest, or they have hidden depth and things you don't know. And there's something very intriguing about them. They have you wanting to learn more. If you know who this is, like if you've met them, maybe you're at a stage where it's very fun and flirty, but you haven't pushed past that barrier of more intimate conversations yet. Obviously, that depends on which stage you're at in this connection with them, but I think on the first date or when these feelings first come up, at least, there's this sense of somebody feeling like, "I know there's so much more to be explored with you," or "I know there's more to you than meets the eye." It does seem like this person is very much go with the flow and they're really down for anything as long as you guys get to spend time together. They really don't mind what you do or where you go. I think this person is always up for an adventure. It's making me think of random car rides or spontaneous trips to the beach, or you and this person just saying, like, "Hey, should we go to this random city for the day?" And then just going ahead and doing it. In some instances, this person could be a little bit younger than you, but that does not have to apply. This could be a person who hasn't had many serious commitments before, or there is just something kind of youthful and innocent about their energy, regardless of their actual age. This person always has the attitude of, like, "Yeah, let's just do it," or "Let's just go for it," no matter what you suggest. They see things as an opportunity, or they look at things just very optimistically. If you were to suggest something, even if it's not something they've ever tried, or even if it's not something they would automatically choose, they're not like, "Ew, no, we're not doing that," or "We're not going there." They're like, "Heck yeah, let's try it." This is the kind of person who would go and get matching tattoos with you on a whim or something like that. And it's also the kind of person who would, I think we said earlier, but do things just to make you laugh. And I don't know why, but I'm seeing a picture of someone making a silly face or sticking their tongue out or putting googly eyes on top of where their real eyes are and turning round to you. Like, are you into this? Not that example exactly, but it's like, this is a person who is not afraid to be themselves, and there's something that you think is quite unique about them. They have a certain quirk that makes them stand out from the crowd. This person could also be extremely creative, or they know how to make things beautiful. They could have a sense of style that you really like, they know how to look put together, or they could be in a creative industry, or they are an artist in their spare time, or they just have a very creative mind or a creative way of looking at things generally. I get the impression that they're a peaceful person. I think they strive for harmony in a lot of their relationships. I don't think they love conflict. They could have struggled with a little bit of people pleasing in the past, but I think just more than anything, they crave fun and connection in their partnership, so they're not the type to want to create drama in their personal relationships. So let's have a look at why they want to make you their boo. Let's look at why they want to take you out, pal two. Okay, so we have got the Two of Rings, which is the Two of Pentacles. We have got the Knight of Flutes, the Hopeless Romantic, which is the Knight of Cups. We have got the Queen of Roses, the Beauty Queen, which is the Queen of Wands. And we have got the Six of Roses, challenge winner, and that is the Six of Wands. With these cards, I think you bring out the hopeless romantic in this person, pal, too. And I really feel like not a lot of people are able to get them feeling that way. And it's not that they're not romantic, because I think deep down they very much are. And as we kind of talked about when we looked at the last few cards, they do have depth to them, but it's like they have this very goofy, unserious, go with the flow type of demeanor. And so I think this is usually the type of person who, if there was a couple in their friendship group, let's say being overly affectionate, this would be the kind of person to yell, like, get a room or something like that. But suddenly they get these feelings for you, and you've got them wanting to listen to romantic songs and smiling at their phone. And they're almost like, ew, I'm being so cringy right now. Like, why am I smiling at my phone like this? But you've got them wanting to make romantic gestures and wanting to follow their heart. This could be somebody who isn't overly physically affectionate, like maybe they don't just go and hug everyone, but with you, they want to hug you, they want to be close to you and touch you because you bring that side out of them and they feel safe doing that. It's like they feel safe expressing the side of them that's usually a little bit hidden. And it's almost like the conversations you guys have, you find it easy to go from making jokes to something more serious or sentimental, and you get them opening up in ways that they might not normally. I'm getting like 1 minute you're cracking up, making jokes about something, and the next minute you're talking about your therapy session, and this person is like, whoa, how did we get onto that? But it's not forced, it just sort of happens because they feel safe with you. I think they see you as very warm and gentle and caring, and they know that you have this sensitive side, and so do they. I think they like the fact that they can sort of have these abstract conversations with you because they see you as imaginative. And we talked about how they are creative, so it could be like you are two creatives and the ideas between you never really end because you're able to converse about all these hypothetical or metaphysical concepts, even. But as much as you have similarities, I also feel like this person appreciates your differences. I get the impression that this person views you as in some ways more balanced than they are. I mean, we do have the Queen of Wands, which can indicate someone who is chaotic. So it could be that you are also chaotic, but it just manifests in different ways to this person. And I feel like the thing with you, pal, too, is I think this person likes that you put them in their place a little bit because maybe you're both creative, you both have like these gifted imaginations, but perhaps you're better at making your ideas a reality and putting things into practice. Whereas this person maybe feels like they're a little bit head in the clouds or a little bit ungrounded, and they feel like they can learn a lot from you in many ways. I feel like you would tell this person when they need to step up and get their shit together, and I think they really like that about you. I think sometimes this is a person because they might try very hard to always come across as diplomatic or because they might struggle with conflict. I think they like the fact that you will speak your mind. They might admire the fact you're blunt or you just say what needs to be said. If you are hot tempered or anything like that, I think this person is very attracted to that. They could like when you're bossy or assertive with them in some way. I don't know why, but I'm thinking of that reel. I can't remember what it's about, but it's the one where one person is like, yeah, she has some problems for sure, but I think it's important to remember. And then the other person is like, and also, she's ugly. And I kind of didn't want to use that example because I'm not saying that you're calling anyone ugly. I'm just saying that's what this dynamic kind of reminds me of. And it could even be that the energies are flipped here, but it's like one person tries to be super careful about what they say, and the other person just says it how it is and comes across as very unfiltered. But ultimately, it's like deep down you both agree on the things that you're talking about. And if you're the unfiltered one, if that's you, this person really likes that because essentially what you see is what you get. But also, this person wishes that they could speak their mind a little bit more. I think they feel like you're a person who could help them get their shit together or organize their life to some degree. And I'm not saying that's your responsibility or anything like that. And I don't think it's that this person wants you to do everything for them, but it's more you're kind of a source of inspiration for them in certain ways. And you act as a very good motivator because you're like, yeah, if you want something, go and get it. Maybe they feel like you could help them plan the practical side of things. I think you both let each other dream and be creative, but this person feels like you don't let them get too carried away or something like that. With this Six of Wands, I think this person feels like they're winning by just being with you. They feel like they must be doing something right by just having you in their life. And I think they feel like a lot of people look up to you or that you're very, very well liked. This is a person who kind of wants to show you off. I don't think it's in an objectifying way. You know, of course, they are very attracted to you, but I think they are just generally proud of you and they feel like it's a flex to be dating you, or they feel like just being friends with you is some kind of flex. They want to be seen with you. They want to invite you to functions with their family and friends and have you next to them. If you haven't met their family or friends, I think they like that you're somebody their family and friends would like. The people they care about would be supportive of this relationship. They kind of feel like when I'm with Paltu, I feel like nothing could go wrong. I feel like I'm riding high. I'm getting that phrase. So if you are officially dating, it's like they want people to know that you're theirs, or they want to say, this is my girlfriend, or this is my boyfriend, whatever. They're happy to be seen with you in whatever way that applies. They feel like you make them more confident in some way, and they also feel like you command the energy of the room. They feel like people think that you're important or that you're in the spotlight, you demand attention, and so they feel proud that you have all that going for you, but you've chosen to be with them. Maybe with this Knight of Cups, they can see themselves taking you on a romantic hot air balloon ride, and they're kind of like, where is this coming from? I haven't felt this way about anybody before. Okay, so let's have a look at this first date. Let's have a look at the energies before, during, and after. Let's look at how everyone's going to be feeling and see if we can get into any more specifics. Okay, so we have got to be continued the cliffhanger. That is the Hanged Man. We have got Five of Mirrors, Tattletale. That is the Five of Swords in reverse. We have got the Four of Rings, Possessive. That is the Four of Pentacles reversed. We have got the End. That is Death. We have got Eight of Mirrors in your head. That is the Eight of Swords reversed. We have got Seven of Flutes, the Edit. That is the Seven of Cups. We have got the Four of Flutes, Reflection. That is the Four of Cups reversed. Oh, don't know why that put that round. And we have got the Hot Seat, that is Justice, and that is number 11. Justice is card number 11, so we have 1111 showing up again. Another synchronicity. I feel like with this Hanged Man, when somebody asks somebody else out on this date, I feel like there's a little bit of initial panic because someone feels like they're being left hanging. But I don't think this is the case. This is about future boo. So obviously the feelings here, again, like we said, are very much mutual, but maybe initially one person is panicking because they send that message and then the other person takes a while to get back to them, or they leave them on red temporarily. And the person who does the asking maybe makes it a bigger deal in their mind. Maybe they're like, why is this person not replying? Do they think I'm weird? Do they not like me? I think that person is getting in their head like, oh my God, they probably aren't even attracted to me. Are they thinking of how to let me down gently or what? And then it turns out the person being asked just didn't have their phone with them, or they had to go and deal with something. But when they reply, it's like, yeah, that sounds good to me. What time? It's very straightforward. And the person who did the asking is like, for you. It could also be, although the attraction is mutual, if you guys already have an established friendship, it could be that on one person's end, they're making a bigger deal out of this because they're like, I'm purposely asking them out to spend some one-on-one time together, but maybe the other person is sort of blissfully ignorant, or they're like, oh, this person is just asking me to hang out. At first, at least, you know, obviously when you guys are booed up and you look back at this, you're going to be able to see that one person here was shooting their shot, but it might not be that obvious at the time, and that's just confirmation of how you'll know who this is, I think. One person here, it's like they're not sure if the other is going to be into it, but they're going to see how it goes. And I think that's why they don't want to make it this big romantic thing, because they don't want either of you to feel uncomfortable if it doesn't go to plan or whatever. So it's like one person sends that, hey, do you want to hang out together tomorrow message? And they're waiting anxiously by their phone, like, oh my God, what have I done? What are they going to say? What if they say no? And then the other person picks up their phone like an hour later and they reply like, yeah, of course. And they kind of just shrug and throw their phone back down because they don't realize what this is yet. Meanwhile, the other person, maybe they've already realized this attraction and they've decided this is going to be a date. And so they're like, oh my God, they said yes. They're like squealing, or not squealing, but they're excited. And I'm sorry, but this rat on this Five of Swords reverse card is so cute. Maybe for just one person here, a pet rat is significant, or someone is interested in rats or thinks they're cute, or some kind of small furry creature. Could be like a hamster or a guinea pig. Or it could even be someone in this connection has a soft spot for a creature that other people tend not to like. So that could be rats, but it could also be maybe someone has a pet snake when other people, tend to be scared of snakes, or a pet snail when other people might think that's gross or whatever. There's something about somebody having an unusual pet. Someone here could be a big animal lover generally, or maybe year of the rat is significant. Maybe somebody was born during year of the rat. A message about a rat is very much wanting to come through here. With this Four of Pentacles reversed, some of you could know who this is if I say this person is maybe a bit of an overspender. This person's one toxic trait could be that they have a very treat yourself mentality when sometimes maybe they can't quite afford it. And this doesn't have to be anything on a grand scale. For some of you, this person might make more grander purchases, but for others, it could be like this person always needs to buy their silly little fancy coffee every morning, even if in the same breath they're saying to you, I can't afford my electric bill this month. They're like, fuck it, I need my latte, or something like that. If it's not that, it could just be that this person is very overly generous with people generally, like they are always bending over backwards to make other people comfortable, but maybe sometimes at the expense of themselves. I feel like on this date, you could witness either them overspending on something or being overgenerous. It could even be with you. Like, let's say you go on this date and you go exploring in the city and you're just browsing shops. Let's say you see a home decoration that you really like, or a piece of jewelry, but it's really expensive. It's like this person won't even look at the price tag and they'll just be like, if you want it, I'll get it for you. And maybe, they couldn't afford it. And it doesn't have to be because this person is explicitly like bad with money. It could just be like, this isn't an item that any average person who earns an average wage would just buy on a whim without checking the price tag. But this person will do it because they have that sort of whimsical side. They can be very spontaneous. And you could kind of be like, don't be silly, like you can't afford that. And they go and get it for you anyway because they're like, I'll worry about that later. So they might not be the best with managing money. But if it's not money, it could just be that this person is very overgiving in terms of how they treat people or something like that. And I feel as though on this date, you and this person find it very easy to, again, kind of like what we said earlier, you slip into having these deep transformative conversations with this death card, but it's never in a way where it feels like this is too intense. Because you guys have this kind of way of making light out of darker topics, and you can go from like joking and casual to deep, then back to joking again in a heartbeat. So these discussions feel very much natural to you. And I actually think this is why both of you like each other so much, because I don't think either of you are huge on small talk. And I feel like this ability to move towards these deeper topics effortlessly has been a defining factor in your relationship or friendship since the beginning, or that will be the case if you haven't yet encountered this person. It feels like this has always come or will always come pretty easily, so it makes sense that this can be explored further on this first date or when you're having more one-on-one time together. I feel like maybe this is a person who has a tendency to underplay some of the messed up stuff that's happened to them. And on one hand, it could be that they're still healing and they're still dealing with that tendency to people please. But I think honestly, this is also their way of making some of these topics more accessible in a way. This seems like the kind of person who would describe the most messed up thing happening to them, but they'd find a way to make a joke of it somehow. Like, as one example, they could say, oh yeah, when I was in high school, a group of bullies pinned me down and shaved my hair off. And if you were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, that's so messed up, they'd be like, I know, but it's fine. At least I still looked hot with a bald head, or something like that. It doesn't have to be that exact thing, obviously, but I do think you definitely get to hear more about this person's life and some of the different lives they've lived on this date. Like, some of the things they've been through you might not have expected, but they're going to be pretty open about this, just sort of in their own unusual way. I think you guys are kind of getting into the nitty gritty of some of the stuff you both have been through, if I'm honest. And I know some of you might be thinking, that's maybe not the most fun thing to get into on a first date, but I honestly think both of you find a way to somehow make it fun and actually use it as a way to connect. I know that sounds weird because of your guys' personalities and the way that you are able to make those jokes in light moments. This just actually feels like a deeper stage of connection between you and this person, because it will feel like you've come a long way from whatever you've experienced in the past. And I think at the point this date happens, you're going to be able to talk about some of these experiences in more of a detached way, but it means you're able to also understand each other better and bond more. I think it gives you the opportunity to have this newfound appreciation for one another, because if before there was a little bit of a barrier in terms of one person not fully opening up to the other, it feels a little bit like new territory is being explored here and a guard comes down, and that's what brings you guys closer together. I think you're honestly both in awe of each other. You both have been through your respective stuff and you've come out of the other side wanting to do and be better. And I think that's something you're discussing here. With this Five of Swords, somebody could be talking specifically about moving on from something else and maybe how that's taken them a lot of strength in the past. For some people here, it's just making me think, like with the Eight of Swords in reverse as well, someone here could be talking about their experiences as a survivor in some way. So maybe somebody escaped a situation where they were being treated really, really badly in the past, whether that's a past relationship or escaping a parental home or fleeing a difficult family dynamic or even a work situation where they were being mistreated or bullied, maybe something where they felt physically threatened or they were being emotionally manipulated or their boundaries were being crossed repeatedly. They're talking about how they left that situation in the pursuit of freedom. And particularly if this person struggles with conflict or they struggle with people pleasing, or even if that's you, like these energies are flipped in some way, whatever applies, it adds an extra layer of understanding, because maybe if you thought that this person was a little bit too go with the flow or you thought that they didn't initiate enough, you're realizing that there is a reason for that and this person is working on it. But I think it allows you to understand their circumstance more and realize that yes, this person might need to work on their conflict avoidance if that is an issue, but it's not necessarily a terrible thing for somebody to want to strive for peace and harmony in their relationships, especially if they came from a home environment or a relationship environment where there was never peace or there was always this state of chaos. I feel like, particularly with the Four of Cups reversed, it's like this first date makes the both of you feel re energized and you feel like whatever's happened in the past, it's not mattering as much anymore because it's led you to this moment and you're regaining your zest for life. I definitely think someone is going to be seizing the opportunity to do something here. So, when we were saying, well, this is technically your first date, but it might not really be viewed as a date at first. I think that how you're feeling when you arrive will be very different to how you're feeling when you're leaving, because something will have changed in this relationship dynamic, but it's for the better. So if one person shows up to this hangout or date thinking, this is literally just a hangout or it's literally just friends, by the time they leave, they're going to know that it was actually something else. And this will be kind of a defining relationship moment that you guys look back on. So this could be somebody taking the opportunity to confess their feelings, maybe somebody going in for a kiss, if you would be comfortable with that. Or it's just like something is elevated in a way where it's gone from friends to romance or acquaintances to flirty. Something shifts, but you're both finding this shift very exciting, and it's going to make you look forward to whatever else is in store for you in terms of this connection. I feel like you and this person will be talking a lot about what you'd both like to do in the future in terms of your goals and dreams. If you guys share similar interests, some of this could be you mind mapping ideas regarding shared goals and dreams. Maybe it's this person making an off the cuff comment like, we should open a business together and I could do this or you could do that. I don't know why, but somebody here could be suggesting we could start a podcast together or something like that. I don't know why, but that's coming through strongly. But it seems like you both are discussing ideas and you're talking about different options, maybe of like what you'd like to do for a career or what you'd like your lives to look like. Some of it could involve some level of daydream or wishful thinking, with the Seven of Cups in particular. It could be more of these abstract kind of conversations like, oh, if I was rich, I'd love to do XYZ, or it's maybe talking about dreams that are quite far off. Like, eventually, I'd love to go and live in this country, or when I retire, I'd like to do this, something along those lines. It's very possible that if this is a friend, maybe this person has been harboring some feelings for you for a while. And so I feel like they're maybe the one who thinks that they now have to be honest and they have to come out and say something with this justice card. It's making me think of this person almost being kind of apologetic for this, though. I don't know if apologetic is the right word, but if you're used to them being jokey about things, it could be that at first this person sort of makes this confession in a jokey way and they're kind of like, I'm so sorry, but I've got an ulterior motive here. And then they're sort of laughing when they're telling you that they've got a crush on you or something, so you're not really sure if they're winding you up. Maybe you're kind of like, are you serious? Like you're trying to ask them questions, Maybe you're like, how long have you felt this way? And they're answering, but you're maybe not 100% sure if you can take them seriously because they're laughing or smiling out of nervousness. But then maybe they do something to make it very clear, like, no, I'm serious about this. It's like once they get over that initial anxiousness, they can be more direct with you. And then maybe it's like they hold your hand or they get closer to you or they're like, let me prove I'm serious about this. And they kiss you and you're like, whoa. It's definitely confession time. It's definitely the start of something here. I think it's both of you realizing these feelings. Even if one person had, at the point you guys go on this date, even if one person had already discovered that they were there and they've kind of been sitting on it, it's like now is the time to get everything out in the open now that they have you alone in this moment. But I think they're going to do something so sweet and be so real with you that after that initial shock of like, where did this come from? You're going to be sure that they are serious about this. And actually, what might be more surprising is that you're feeling the same way too. So that is what I'm getting for the tarot portion of your reading. Let's have a look at your oracle card from the True Love Oracle. So we're going to have a look at what we pulled for you, pal, too. Okay, let's have a look. We have got number 21, Luminosity. Oh, this person sees you as this bright, shining sun, pile 2. Somebody here could kind of look like this beautiful lady on this card. Could be you or it could be this person. Some of you could have dark hair or beautiful dark brown eyes or features similar to this, or you could dress in this kind of style, or you could have jewelry that looks like this. None of that has to apply. It's just a little bit of extra confirmation if it does. But yeah, you stand out to this person. They honestly feel like you stand out to everyone. You don't even have to try, but there's just something about you that brings so much light and warmth. This person is so into you. Like, you might as well be the only person in the room to this person. They have such a crush on you. This is giving me like all the cute, tingly feelings. It really does feel like that spark of life and that new love energy. Like both of you realizing you have these feelings and something is reawakened in terms of your zest for life. I think you both just bring each other so much joy. There's a lot of laughing and childlike wonder and seeing the beauty in the world around you. Someone's smile could be significant here too. Maybe someone has a beautiful beaming smile, or it melts someone's heart when they see you smile, or something along those lines. Somebody here could have Sun as their ruling planet in their chart, or they have prominent Leo placements. That doesn't have to apply. Also, with the number 21, this would be significant in terms of ages, dates, someone's birthday, or an angel number or synchronicity you are seeing a lot of. In terms of when a first date might happen or some kind of time frame, if we want to end the reading on that note, it could be that the number 21 is significant there. So for example, they reach out to you in 21 hours, or you plan a date in 21 days, or 1 to 2 months from now, or you've known each other 21 weeks or months, something like that, or something about the 21st of the month being significant. So that is what I'm getting for the tarot portion of your reading, pal 2. I really hope you enjoyed this reading today. If you did like the reading, please do me a massive favor. Please like the video, please comment and let me know what resonated, or just claim your chosen pile. Every single comment helps. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. I am slowly making my way to 1,000 subscribers. So again, I notice every single new subscriber and it all really helps me so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate you. Take care of yourself and I'll see you in the next one, pal 2. Hi, Pal 3 Collective. If you chose Pal 3 and the Weird Cat Tarot with the Coffee Ghost, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. Also, the idea of a coffee ghost sounds so terrifying. I can't imagine anything scarier than a ghost stealing my coffee. So this reading is all about what the first date with your future boo will be like. If you would like a full reading breakdown regarding everything this reading will entail, I recommend checking out the introduction. I go through absolutely everything there. But we are going to be looking into the overall vibe of this date as a whole. We're looking at who this person is. You might know them, but you might not know them yet. We're going to be looking at why they want to make you their boo. What is it about you that makes them want to take you out on this date? And then we're going to be doing a deep dive on the before, during, and after of the date itself. I did all my usual disclaimers in the intro, but you know, it's a collective reading. Not everything will resonate. Take what's for you and leave the rest for somebody else. So you can use this oracle portion of the reading as an energy check and for confirmation you've chosen the right pile. I know that sometimes when we're talking about future tense or energies that you are yet to encounter, it can be hard to know whether a pile belongs to you. I will give as many details as I can during the oracle, but obviously the tarot will be the more thorough portion. I will say that absolutely nothing bad will happen if you choose the wrong pile. All it means is that you get to go back and try again with a different pile. Hopefully the first one you choose will just feel right and it will be straightforward for you. But if I happen to say, for example, you and your date could be going skydiving and you know that you would never in a million years go skydiving or do anything like that, then maybe that's a clear sign that it's not your pile, and that's okay. So just please go in with an open mind, see how you feel. If anything doesn't feel right or it doesn't feel like your vibe, you are very welcome to pick again. Anyway, let's officially get started. As I have done now with the first two piles, I want to chat a little bit about this sticker briefly before we have a proper look at your oracle card. I'm actually going to pop the sticker here and I'm going to pop the tarot to one side for now. So you picked the ghost with the coffee sticker. Somebody here could be really into their coffee or their morning beverage of choice. It doesn't have to be coffee. It could be a hot cup of tea or cocoa, maybe green tea or matcha for someone, or even like adaptogenic mushroom drink for somebody. In whatever case, maybe ensuring you get your silly little beverage is a crucial part of your morning or nighttime routine, or this person's. I can definitely relate to that, pile 3. I'm also seeing someone who always has their Stanley cup or travel mug with them. It doesn't have to be like an actual Stanley. I'm also seeing some kind of travel thermos or something like that. So whether it's for work or to keep in the car or for when someone goes walking, it's like they always have a way of keeping their beverages warm or cool, whichever you prefer, depending on the climate you reside in. With this ghost being pretty expressionless, it could be somebody here has a bit of a resting bee face, or somebody struggles to be an alive, expressive human being until they've had their morning beverage. But yeah, those are the messages I'm getting for the sticker. Let's now take a little look at your oracle card. So we have Go Your Own Way. Okay, Fleetwood Mac. Somebody could be a fan of Fleetwood Mac or Stevie Nicks. Maybe someone likes the album Rumours or just 70s music generally. Some absolutely amazing, phenomenal music comes from that decade. So if that's you, then you have very good taste, in my opinion. I'm getting for maybe just one or two people here that you might even have a name inspired by a 70s artist or song. So, for example, if we're talking Fleetwood Mac, it doesn't have to be this one in particular, but somebody could be called Rhiannon, like their parents liked the name because of that song, or you or your parents grew up listening to that style of music. Somebody here could really like American Horror Story, or you loved the Coven season, the one with Stevie Nicks in. That was absolutely iconic. It's still one of my favourite seasons. Or somebody could be into their witchy things or inspired by that kind of style. Remember, none of these details have to apply. These are just confirmations for specific people out here. It could also be clues regarding your person. But yeah, I am actually so dumb because when I first glanced at this card, I thought this was a coffee cup and that this was like latte art or something. So clearly I still have coffee on the brain from looking at your sticker, but it's actually a compass. And so I feel like there's this strong message of getting our bearings and finding direction here. So this date could happen, or you might encounter this person at a point in your life when you have recently discovered or rediscovered your path, or you found a passion or worked out a direction you'd like to go in when it comes to a career or a hobby, or maybe just your life generally. Like you've worked out where you're headed. Maybe it's after a period of feeling lost or not really knowing, but it's like you're getting on the right track and then boom, you encounter this person. So it feels like if this isn't a person you've met already, which it could be, but if it's a new person, you might meet them due to this new path that you've put yourself on. And it doesn't really matter what you've decided to do necessarily. If this is a new career, you could very well meet them through work. If you've decided to get involved in a particular hobby and you join a club or community, you might meet them that way. If you decide you want to go traveling, you could just happen to meet them in a whole other country. But the point is, it's like you encounter them when you're doing the thing that you want to do, and it's very much like your own thing. This hasn't been decided for you. This has been an active choice that you've made. Because some of you, it seems like you've always had a very independent and rebellious streak. Maybe you've always questioned the status quo or why we have to do things a certain way. So, as just one example of that, this encounter could happen at a time in your life when you've decided, you know what, I've been encouraged all my life to just get a 9 to 5 job, but the 9 to 5 life is really not for me. I want to do my own thing, I want to start my own business. And you set out down that path, creating that life for yourself. Again, it doesn't have to be that specific thing, but it feels like by choosing yourself and what you want and doing something slightly unconventional, you're going to bump into this person at just the right time. And there's some sense of something being serendipitous here, like ending up in just the right place at just the right time. And there's an element of someone here saying, if I had gone down this different path, we probably wouldn't have met like this. So that could be you or this person, or it could be both of you. Like maybe you were both at one point going down two different paths and you wouldn't have collided unless you had made that choice to change directions. So another example could be like you feeling pressured to start a family by a certain age, but maybe you weren't sure if you wanted kids, as just one example, and you decided to remain child free and go traveling. And then you meet this person and you're like, if I had decided to stay in this one place and have a family, I would have never met them. And I'm not saying if you have kids, you can't go anywhere ever, but maybe in this example, in your case, you know that you wouldn't have had the time or financial resources to go traveling to a particular destination or for a particular length of time if you had opted for a different path. And I think that's more the point I'm getting at here. And it could go the opposite way too. Like maybe you were supposed to go traveling, but then you find out you were pregnant and your plans got interrupted, and then it didn't work out with your partner at the time, and then you go ahead and you meet this person. And if everything had have gone to plan, like you stayed with that person or you went traveling, you would have never met this person, is what I'm getting. And it's interesting as well that I mentioned skydiving at the beginning because if there's any group that I've looked at today who would maybe want to do something a little bit unique or adventurous on a first date, it's you guys. Now, it doesn't have to be skydiving, but I really see my pal threes as having a very adventurous spirit and a need for freedom. Some of you might like to do that kind of hands on stuff as a first date. It's like you'd come up with an interesting idea or suggestion of things to do when you're getting to know someone. And again, I'm not saying it has to be extreme sports or something like skydiving. For some of you, it could be that or something outdoorsy, maybe abseiling or climbing or even just a hike or a walk. A lot of you, it feels like you do really like to be in nature, but if maybe that's not possible where you are or it's not that kind of thing that you're into for whatever reason, it could be something like you saying, let's do a pottery class together, or let's do a glass painting class, or let's make resin jewelry. It doesn't have to be something super out there, but it's something that not everyone does necessarily. It could also be like visiting a zoo or an animal sanctuary or aquarium, or something a little bit weird. I mean, I guess those things aren't weird at all, but it could be like visiting a haunted museum, or for some of you, I'm getting like going to a scare maze or something. Something where your adrenaline is a little bit peaked, or like there's some element of newness with it, like that dopamine rush of trying something new. For some of you, it could even be like a historical tour, like visiting the London dungeons, or I'm getting an escape room for somebody, something along those lines. It feels as though you'd have a very unique suggestion and that you and this person would want to go ahead and do something fun. For some of you, I think you would prefer to do one of these activities than, for example, go on a dinner date with someone you don't know that well, because maybe to a degree, these activities kind of take the pressure off a little bit. Some of you, I'm getting you don't always love when a first date feels too much like a first date. I think for some of you, when there's too much pressure to mask, it can be a bit overwhelming or feel stifling. As just one example, and this doesn't have to be the case, but if you are a woman and you don't particularly enjoy dressing up or wearing makeup, not because there's anything wrong with those things, but maybe it just isn't you, because for you it feels too much like performing femininity as opposed to just being yourself. It could be that you would struggle going on a first date where there's an expectation to do those things because you get invited to a fancy restaurant and it feels like you kind of have to play a character. Whereas if you can do an activity, whether it's one of the ones I mentioned or something completely different, it feels as though you feel more at home and able to be yourself because it's something that you would do on your own or with your friends anyway. And you can, wear comfortable clothing and things like that. And then there's also not as much pressure for things to be romantic. And that's not me saying you're not into the romance, but it's more like when you're just getting to know someone, maybe you don't want someone who is too full on or like trying to stare into your eyes and hold your hand across the dinner table when you don't even know them like that, because it feels like you want to get to know someone first before acting like that. So focusing on an activity gives you guys a way to connect whilst also not making it too much of a thing. And it feels like, honestly, you're both like that. You're really open to these fun ideas and not putting too much pressure on a first date when it doesn't have to be that way. I'm also getting something about paintballing and something about like airsoft as well. I don't know what that is, but I keep hearing airsoft. Is that a paintballing thing or what is that? But yeah, it feels like you're doing something, an activity, and you like doing these kinds of things because if it ends up not being a romantic vibe, you can kind of be like, well, at least we had fun. Maybe you've had to let a lot of people down gently that way in the past because it does feel like you're someone who has a very free spirited nature and it's kind of hard to pin you down. You're not going to just settle for anyone. And if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. And you're going to be honest about that. But this is about your future boo, so it does seem like you are going to be feeling it, pal three. But yeah, let's have a look at your tarot and we're going to have a look at this person's energy. Thank you so much for listening so far. I hope you are enjoying this portion of the reading. We are about to go ahead and move on to your tarot, so I will see you at your tarot reading, pal three. Hi, Part 3 Collective. Welcome to the tarot portion of your reading. Without hesitation, let's get started and have a look at the first 4 cards we pulled for you. So for this section, we're asking, who is this person? How might you know them? Obviously, some of you won't know them yet, so maybe this is just who to look out for. We're going to be deep diving into this person's energy. Okay, so we have got the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, that makes sense. We've got Judgment. Goodness. We have got the King of Pentacles, and we have got the Two of Wands reversed. So obviously this portion of the reading is about this person's energy, but I am getting that similar message of like this encounter feels fated in some way, particularly with this Wheel of Fortune. And when I say fated, it doesn't have to be that at the time this is this super profound, life-changing thing in that very moment. For some of you, it might be like you take one look at this person and you just know. I definitely think there will be some sense of this person is meant to be in my life for a reason to some degree, but it more than anything just feels like a case of right place at right time. But I think there's going to be a point in the future when this person is your boo, where you both look back at this meeting and you're like, wow, if I hadn't have chosen to do XYZ that day, or if I had chosen to do something different, I wouldn't have met you. But there's this sense of feeling lucky that you did run into each other at that moment. There's this feeling of you two saying to each other, like, who could have pictured that we'd end up where we are now? And I think for this person, there's going to be this feeling of you really did come into their life at just the right moment, because some of them could be in a place where they are maybe feeling a little bit lost when you guys meet. Or if it's not lost, it could just be that they felt like a choice they made might be wrong, or they felt like they were being restricted in some type of way. But when they meet you, maybe it's like, well, I'm so glad I didn't go with that other thing, or I'm glad a certain choice got taken away from me, because if it didn't, I would have probably never met pal 3. They feel like their fate changes once they've met you. They feel like they can see their life going in a more positive direction when they come into contact with you. They see it as their luck changing for the better. And I hate being such a stereotypical cliche reader who is like, this could be your soulmate, or this could be your twin flame. Even though I know it's what people like to hear, I don't tend to say that a great deal. But what I will say is, the Wheel of Fortune can indicate soulmates. So there could be some strong feeling when you guys meet of, we really did like meet for a reason. This is something. Or this person feels like, now I can see why things didn't work out before, or things didn't work out with other people. It's because I needed to be on this path and I needed to meet this pal 3 person. There's something about when you guys meet, one or both of you could be like, ah, now it makes sense. And I'm just going to say it with the Judgment card. You could be a catalyst in this person's spiritual awakening. Maybe you reawakening something within them and they're like, I know what I got to do now. It's like you sort of invigorate them. There's something about a chance meeting or divine intervention here, and this could be so many things. By chance meeting, I don't mean that this has to be totally unplanned, but there's something where fate works in your favor to bring you guys together in some kind of way. So it could be literal chance, like you happen to meet this person when you're on a hike and your compass is broken, or you've got no signal on your phone and you happen to ask this person for directions and you spark something in one another when you get talking. Or it could just be a case of you go out with your friends and you're supposed to be going to one bar, but then that bar is shut and someone makes an off the cuff suggestion of like, should we try this other place? And that's when you bump into this person. Or even if it is more planned, as in like you arrange a date with this person on a dating app, it could be like one person feels a little bit ill on the day, or they're super tired and so they nearly cancel the date, but then something inside them just says, no, do you know what, don't cancel, let's give it a go and let's see what happens. And you end up really enjoying yourselves. It could be you, it could be this person, and maybe later someone even says, it's crazy, I was almost going to cancel our date and I'm so glad that I didn't. Two of Wands reversed can also indicate cancelled emigration. So it could be someone was meant to be moving somewhere for work or for another opportunity and then it got cancelled. And maybe at the time that felt like the worst thing in the world. But when you guys meet, someone's saying, well, if I'd gone, I wouldn't have met you. So really, it worked out for the best. Even if this thing doesn't get cancelled for this person, it could just be that something in them makes them hold back and they're not really sure why. But it could be like they're given an opportunity to take a promotion, as just one example. Doesn't have to be this one, but let's say they get this opportunity to take a promotion. But if they take this promotion, it would mean they're moving. And maybe they'd been really indecisive, but in the end, they declined the offer. And maybe their employers were kind of like, are you sure? Like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and now we're going to have to offer it to someone else. And they were like, yeah, I'm sure, but they weren't really sure. They just felt like something was stopping them from going and they didn't know what that was. But then maybe, they were sort of doubting that decision because perhaps they saw this other person getting all those opportunities that they were supposed to have. Meanwhile, your person just had to, return to their routine, and maybe things felt a little mundane. And maybe they thought, I messed up here. Maybe I should have taken that opportunity, because what if I never get it again? But then they meet you and they're like, I'm so glad I didn't. Like, I made the right choice here. This doesn't have to be a work thing or moving necessarily. It could be anything. It could be a certain career path, or even them choosing to end a relationship because something just didn't feel right. They decide to not go through with something. It could even be like a cancelled wedding or engagement. And maybe they have people around them like, are you sure you want to end this? You've been with this person for so many years. Are you sure you're not making a mistake? And maybe at first, when they do end it or they see that person moving on, maybe initially they're like, maybe I am making a mistake. What if I don't find love again? But then they encounter you and things just click into place. They're like, that's the reason why it didn't work out with this other person, because that was never right for me, but this person is right for me. With this King of Pentacles, it could be that this person is a little bit older than you, although that does not have to be the case. There could be a little bit of an age gap here. I guess the energies could be flipped. But it's interesting because the King of Pentacles talks about somebody who is really not a risk taker, and it feels like this decision this person had to make was a risk. So maybe that's why they had so much self-doubt, but when they encounter you, again, it just makes sense why they did that or why they were pulled in that direction. This person could be some kind of entrepreneur, or they are somebody who likes to consistently work on bettering themselves and improving all areas of their lives. At the time you and this person meet, this could be somebody who is either very into self help, maybe they're developing spiritually, or they're wanting to establish themselves in a business, or maybe financially, like they're learning about the best places to invest to try and take themselves to the next level in terms of their growth and development. It feels like this person is usually very grounded and level headed, so maybe this sort of awakening moment comes as a surprise to them. Maybe even the fact they made a decision and decided to go for the less safe thing acted as this catalyst for them, but then encountering you kind of allows them to get more in touch with this spiritual side. So let's have a look at the next 4 cards, and let's have a look at why this person wants to take you out or make you their boo. What is it about you that has them feeling this way, or why are they so into you? Okay, so we have got the Three of Pentacles. We've got the Two of Cups. That's sweet. We've got the Ten of Wands. And we've got the Empress. It feels as though this person is so into you because at the time they encounter you, it's like they feel as though they've lost their way in life a little bit, or they don't really know which direction they're heading in. And something about you and this person meeting just changes that for them. It's as though they suddenly know what they want to do or who they want to be. I also think at the time you guys run into each other, this person could be feeling quite apathetic about their day-to-day existence. They could be feeling like life is very mundane, or they don't have much going on for them. Maybe they're still having doubts about choosing a particular path or making a decision, because it's like they made this decision and deep down maybe they know they made it for a reason, but then things in their life still feel stagnant. They aren't really getting anywhere. Every day it feels the same. There's not much fun. There isn't much joy. But then they meet you and it's like they feel alive again. Their drive picks back up. They understand why things had to happen a certain way. Maybe some of them at the time you meet are throwing themselves into work or into projects as a way of distracting themselves from this dispassion that they are feeling. Some of them, when you meet, could kind of come across as more cold or detached or a little bit aloof because they're not feeling that excitement for life. But it's something like you get them to loosen up, or you get them to have fun again, or you bring liveliness and spontaneity and excitement to their life. And also, I think there's something about you encouraging them, like you're a source of motivation for this person. I think when they're around you, they feel like they have something to work on, or they feel like they found their purpose, or where they are supposed to be in some way. It could be that something about you shifts this person's perspective and allows them to understand their potential, or in some instances, feel like less of a failure. And I don't think this person is a failure at all. I mean, as we can see when we looked at those last few cards, this person was showing up as the King of Pentacles, so hardly a failure. But it could just be that this person had a perception of themselves like, I didn't go after this opportunity and now I'm stuck in the same place. So it could be them thinking because they're a certain age and they haven't had kids, or because they've had certain failed relationships or they didn't get married, they could feel like that makes them a failure in some way because they're comparing themselves to others maybe. Or then maybe you come in and you, as someone who has never felt the need to follow the status quo and has always had a lot of independent thoughts and different opinions on what it means to be successful, it could be like you're stepping up and saying to this person, well, look, I've not done XYZ either and I'm still thriving. It's kind of like you're an inspiration to this person because they really do look at you as this empress. So maybe this is them saying, like, well, look at pal three, they're this empress and they didn't do XYZ. So maybe I don't need to do XYZ to be the emperor. It's like you kind of reignite their confidence when it comes to their own path. I'm hearing someone saying, like, yeah, you're actually right, or yeah, I never thought of it that way. But they're figuring out because of you that they can do some kind of different path and still be considered abundant. Some of them could have been burdened with these ideas of, like, I'm only going to be a success if I do XYZ for quite some time, but meeting you is changing that. They're seeing things in a whole new way. I think they feel like you're someone they can really learn a lot from, particularly with this Three of Pentacles. Maybe when it comes to the emotional side and to spirituality and things like that. Maybe when it comes to creativity and feminine expression, even with this Empress. Because it doesn't matter what this person's gender is, but their energy expression is very masculine in nature with that King of Pentacles that we got. And ideally, we all have a mixture of both. So maybe it's like this person was very much in their masculine, but they forgot or they never understood how to express that feminine side, or they never had a person that they could do that with. And when I say feminine side, I don't mean it in the way of you and this person sitting down and braiding each other's hair and doing each other's makeup. I mean it more as in the energies. I mean, if you wanted to do that, you could. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I don't mean it in that way. I mean it more as, like, as one example, maybe this person always felt like they had to repress or bottle up their emotions, like they had to be very stoic or have a stiff upper lip, which is not healthy for anyone. So maybe you're the person that kind of teaches them they're allowed to communicate healthily, they're allowed to talk about their feelings. It could also be that this person has a creative dream or a way that they'd like to express themselves, but they've never had anyone be receptive to these ideas. Maybe they had parents or other influences in their life who told them that they had to do this one particular career or they have to focus on earning a certain amount of money. But maybe they come to you and they're like, I've got this business idea, and they feel safe telling you about those ideas. And you're that one person who encourages them and who shows them it's okay to not be so rigid. It's okay to think out of the box. It's okay to be an artist and, express that side of yourself. With this Three of Pentacles, this is giving me like potential business partnerships and even a power couple. This person feels like you are somebody who they can collaborate with. They feel like you're somebody who they can build with. They feel like you're supportive and nurturing and you allow them to grow personally, professionally, or both in some instances. For some of you, it might be you guys working together and really helping each other build on your ideas. And for others of you where that doesn't apply, it could just feel like you are this person's emotional or spiritual support and you act as guidance for them in that way. You really ground them in their spirituality, or you make them realize they don't have to do everything alone, or they won't feel alone forever. It's something along those lines. This person just feels like you're an amazing person to have on their team and to work with. This could have started out as a workplace connection, although that does not have to apply to everyone. But with the pentacles showing up here, it's making me think for some of you, maybe this person has been a teammate of some kind, and that could be like in the department that you work in, as one example. Or it could be something as simple as you both do some kind of hobby and you guys have ended up on the same team, or you've gone to a pub quiz and you've been on the same team even, and this person has just thought that you're a fun person to be around and somebody that they would definitely want in their life and on their side. It seems like the more time this person spends around you in your vicinity, or will spend around you if you haven't met this individual yet and we're talking future tense, it's like the more they feel you guys are just so compatible, just so on the same page, and they're very, very attracted to you with this Two of Cups. I mean, I think that's the case right from the start, but it's like the attraction will grow because the more they get to know you, the more they feel like this is my kind of person. This is totally someone I could see a future with. I could see myself building with this person. They feel like it would be a really balanced partnership with you. Things would flow very harmoniously. You guys would have equal give and take in your relationship. And please bear in mind, equality can mean different things to different couples. By the way, it depends on your individual values and what you would like a connection to look like. So for some couples, equality looks like both people working and both people splitting the household labour equally after work. For some people, equality could look like one person doing work outside of the home and one person doing work inside of the home. The specifics don't matter, but the point is that this person feels like both of you want the same things. And you're each going to bring something that keeps this connection in balance and helps both of you as individuals stay in balance with yourselves. You both value the same things and have the same ideas when it comes to what you want a partnership to look like. And so that makes this person even more attracted to you because maybe they haven't had that in the past. Maybe them and a past person had a different idea of what a connection should look like, and that made those two individuals feel out of alignment with each other and with themselves. But it feels like with you guys, you just click. You don't have to force it to work. You don't feel like you have to force yourself into a role where you don't really belong. It just kind of flows naturally and harmoniously. You guys really just get along without necessarily having to try, and so things just feel right. You're lovers of the same things. You could both really appreciate and enjoy being out in nature, as one example, because the archetype of the Empress always makes me think of like Mother Nature. If you're a woman and you're curvy, you don't have to be, but if you are, it could be that this person is very attracted to your curves. There could also be something about this person seeing you as a source of comfort, and I don't know why that's coming through when we're talking about your curves, but I'm getting something specific about when this person is half asleep or when you guys are cuddling or just relaxing. They might like to squeeze you gently, but this is something that kind of helps them de-stress or feel very peaceful. It's not in an objectifying way or anything. I think it's when you guys are like mutually touching, but if you have anatomy where that would apply, I think this person likes handling you in that way. And I guess honestly it could apply to different types of anatomy regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. Someone could like to squeeze your butt, or they like to grab onto certain places if you have a bit of junk in the trunk anywhere. This could be something this person is very into. That's just a specific detail for someone, and obviously I know if you haven't met this person yet you won't know that because they wouldn't be squeezing you in the middle of the night. But if you are with this person you might know that about them, so it could just be a little bit of extra confirmation if this is already your boo, for those of you where that applies. The Empress also always makes me think of generosity, so there could be something about you that makes this person want to give to you or share something with you in a way they haven't previously. Now, the Empress can often refer to pregnancy, so this could be this person really seeing you as somebody they could share a family with. Like they could imagine you as being the mother or father of their child. Maybe they've never come across someone that has made them like, I'd want to start a family with this person, but there's something where you and them are so on the same page that they can see that being part of their future now. And for those of you where you don't want that, or that specific thing wouldn't be possible for you, don't worry, this doesn't have to be a literal pregnancy. This can just indicate fertile ground. So this could be they feel safe sharing their ideas with you, or they view you as somebody that they have the potential to create something with, maybe even in a business sense. So let's have a look at this day. We're going to look at the before, during, and after of this experience. So this is all about your day, maybe more about how you're feeling or how this person's feeling, and the general vibe of this encounter. Okay, so we have got the Devil in reverse. We've got the Six of Swords in reverse. We've got the Two of Pentacles. We've got the Eight of Wands. We've got the King of Wands. We've got the King of Cups. We've got the Ten of Cups. And we've got the Seven of Wands. Yeah, it feels like before this date happens, when you guys meet, this person hasn't quite been on solid ground with something. Now, with this Six of Swords reversed, what this is making me think of is when you guys meet, someone here is in this energy of like, it's just one thing after another, or I haven't made any progress, I'm feeling stuck, or I'm feeling trapped with something. Somebody here feels like they rocked the boat too hard and everything fell overboard, and they're kind of in this energy of, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or they're feeling like it hasn't gotten them anywhere. Now, this could refer to many different situations, but as one example, it could be somebody ending a stable relationship because they're not happy, but then wondering whether they've done the right thing. Or for just maybe one individual here, it could be like somebody is a whistleblower about something, maybe at their work, but they've experienced repercussions due to calling someone out. Like because they were honest about something, they got thrown under the bus, or they got given the crappy jobs, or the promotion that was meant to be for them got given to someone else. I know that's quite specific, but that's what I'm sensing, because someone here is like, deep down, I did what I thought was best, but it hasn't gotten me anywhere. Regardless of the specific example, that's the overarching energy. This person is just saying, deep down, I know it was for the best, but why do I feel like it's kind of this bad thing? Or why have I been made to feel bad about it? It's something like that. I'm still getting that feeling though that you and this person meeting is a good thing that came from a bad thing. So to go back to those examples, it's like if that person was still stuck in that dead end relationship, they wouldn't have met you, or vice versa if this energy is flipped. Or if this person had got that promotion and they'd gone to work in a different country, again, they would have never have met you, or vice versa. The Six of Swords does make me think of cancelled travel or something being delayed. Maybe for just one or two of you, you and this person met while traveling, or maybe you met on a plane, or when your flights were delayed or something like that. It doesn't even have to be a plane. It could just be some form of delayed travel that puts you on a path of encountering this person. So it could be a bus or train or car, or just something where you happen to be in each other's vicinity due to a delay or due to you getting held up or something else being cancelled. Someone here could live in an area that experiences or has recently experienced flooding, and this could be a part of your encounter. I know that's very specific and might only apply to just one or two people, but maybe someone had to evacuate their home due to flooding or due to some kind of natural disaster. Maybe they had to go and stay in another state with family or friends, and you two bump into each other that way. If it's not that they had to evacuate, it could be like, as just one example, they just renovated their house and they spent loads of money on it, and then an area in their house that they just spent loads of money on got flooded. So at first, maybe it put them in a bad spot financially, or they were like, this is just terrible, because that's exactly what you would think if that happened. But then obviously, they had to go and fix that issue and get their home redecorated or whatever. And maybe that's how they met you. Like, the company that they used to redecorate their home is a company that you work for, or they had to get new furniture and that's your company. Or even like maybe they had a death in the family and they had to sort out like legal proceedings, or they had to sort out that home, and that's how they met you or something. It doesn't have to be those specific examples, but it's like, again, this sense of a good thing that came from a bad thing. It's something like, you can acknowledge it's really, really crappy that a certain situation happened, but if it wasn't for that, you guys wouldn't have become a thing. There's an element here of, like, again, divine intervention in some way. It feels like with this Two of Pentacles that this person is kind of juggling things in their life at the time of this date. And if they have something going on financially, like if we give that example of them having to make repairs or changes to their home, it could be that they're in a little bit of a tricky spot financially. I'm not getting that it's anything to do with them. Again, this person comes across as fairly sensible with their finances, but due to external life circumstances, they could have just been put in a tight spot. So maybe they're debating, if it's the right time to ask someone out, as one example. It doesn't even have to be anything major. It could just be they've had a hard month in terms of saving money. And at the time you guys organise the date, maybe they haven't been paid yet that month. So they're like, I'd have to transfer money from my savings or borrow some money to take pal 3 out on this date. So they're like, perhaps it's not the right time, but then something in them tells them that they need to do it. And maybe going back to what we said earlier in the reading, there's this sense of them saying to you later, I was going to cancel this at first because of XYZ. It doesn't have to be that example of money, but it could just be they had something going on in their life and they didn't know whether they'd be able to be present on this date, but they end up being really, really happy that they've done it. It could also be the other way around, like you are feeling that way near the time this date takes place. With this devil, I definitely get that one or both of you are in a place of reclaiming your independence at the time of this date. Like, you're releasing baggage from the past and you're releasing some of the beliefs that have bound you prior to this connection. This Eight of Wands makes me feel like something happens really quickly here. I don't think this person is wanting to play around when it comes to you. It could feel like there's something making this person feel like they have to act quickly. Now, this could simply be a case of them feeling like you have other options, or them saying to themselves, I need to snatch up pal 3 because if I don't, someone's going to take them off the market and I don't want to miss my chance. Or it could be that they feel like they have to start something now, or they have to say something right now, because maybe this starts off as just a colleague, but one of you is leaving at the end of the year. Or maybe you meet whilst traveling and somebody knows if they don't say something, you're both going to go back to your hometowns and potentially never speak again. There is some level of urgency here. So this could be this person is just going along, feeling sort of apathetic about their life, and then you step in, you reawaken something, and this individual is like, I know what I have to do now. And they're not taking their chances. They're stepping up and asking you out straight away. So it could be that the actual first date happens really quickly following your meeting, especially if it's that example of, like, let's say you're only in their town for one weekend. They're like, I've got to make something happen here or I'm going to miss my chance forever. Maybe it's like you guys meet and you find out that someone will be leaving in 2 days. So you're like, let's meet tomorrow because I can't live my life not knowing what this was. And I just want to say this is a reading about a future boo. So this is someone that you're going to be with. Now, some of you, maybe you do have to leave a specific place and you have to make this a long distance relationship. But for others of you, it could be whatever this is. It goes so well that someone or both of you change your plans for the other. It obviously goes well either way. You become a part of each other's lives, so that's evident, but that's going to manifest in different ways when it comes to the 3D. So when this thing starts, there could initially be a feeling of one or both of you saying, this is only going to be a fling, or it's only going to be a one night thing, or a holiday romance. But then, because this is a future boo reading, evidently it does become a lot more. And now, with us talking about things progressing quickly, it could also be once you go on this first date, you guys start being a big part of each other's lives very, very quickly. Maybe you make it official fairly fast, or you move in or you get engaged within months rather than waiting a couple of years or something along those lines. Maybe a pregnancy happens quite early on in the relationship for some of you. Just examples there. And normally I advocate for not rushing things. Usually, if one of my friends came to me and said, like, oh, I met this guy 3 months ago and now we're engaged, I'm going to be honest, I would think red flag. But at the end of the day, I don't know everything. Do I think that those kind of relationships work long term most of the time? No, but I will say anecdotally, there are always exceptions. So for you guys, it could just be that when you meet, you get that sense of like, when you know, you know. And the two of you just feel like it's right and like it makes sense. And maybe you don't feel the need to wait around because you know, like, this is the person I've been waiting for and I've done my waiting. It's time to jump in feet first. It's that sort of feeling. For a couple of you, with this Eight of Wands and with the King of Wands, the chemistry is so on fire that you end up getting physical with this person very quickly, maybe on the first date. If you know that message isn't for you, or that you wouldn't do that, or you would prefer to wait, that is absolutely fine. Don't take it if it's not for you. But what we are not going to do is shame any adult for having a fun and consensual experience, whether it's on the first date or whether that person is married. Like, it doesn't matter. I always say, do whatever you want, have fun, be safe, and make sure whatever you're doing is because you genuinely want to and it's what you desire. So if that's not for you, don't be offended. Doesn't have to be for you. But for those of you where that message applies, it's like the passion here is so intense and strong. I think you make this person feel more like themselves and they make you feel more like yourselves. And so, if there is anything physical happening, it's because you both are feeling yourselves. You kind of want to throw caution to the wind because you're like, something just feels so right here. I think a lot of you, because you're not ones for following the status quo, you're kind of like, who cares if I let loose and I just go for this? That's my choice. I don't care what anyone thinks of that. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. You have that sort of attitude. And if you want to get yours, you're going to get yours. It's also like you're not prepared to miss out on this opportunity. So if you and this person fancy each other and you think like, this might be the only time I get to see them, you might be like, fuck it. I need to know what it's like to be with them physically. I've got to make the most of this moment. Obviously, you know, it won't be the last time you see them. This could just be what you're considering at the time when one or both of you thinks there's going to be limited opportunities to be together here. You know, for some of you, this doesn't have to be the full-blown shebang. This person isn't going to do something you're uncomfortable with or anything like that. It could just be a case of, you know, I'm going to go for it and kiss them with passion because I'll regret not kissing them. It's whatever level of intimacy you'd be okay with. None of this is set in stone. So it's whatever you're comfortable with in that moment. And if you're not comfortable with any level of intimacy, that is also okay. There's something about communication being highlighted here. I think you and this person just bounce off one another. There's something about this person having a way with words or being able to think on their feet or just knowing the right things to say. This could be the type of person to be able to just charm the pants off you. I mean, maybe literally, but it's not in a creepy, predatory way. It's like they can act this way with you because they're very much focused on you. They're into you, not just anyone. I mean, this could even be your energy or both of you, like you're charismatic, you know how to flirt and how to charm people or something like that. But I'm getting the impression that the dynamic between the two of you, it's like you're kind of the one who puts up a bit of a challenge, but this person faces any challenge you give them head on and they know how to deal with things or how to handle you in a way that kind of impresses you, is something that I'm getting. I don't want to say you test people, but you definitely conduct vibe checks. And it feels like everything this person says just passes the vibe check. Like, you might say certain things to find out what kind of person they are, and whatever they say, it just seems like their values align with your values. And you're like, okay. Like, usually people fumble when it comes to that question, but this person is passing with flying colours. So I don't want to say it's like you're testing them, because that's kind of what you do on a first date. You ask someone's opinions on things and it's a way of figuring out whether you're compatible. Like, that's very normal on a first date. But whereas some people might shy away from certain questions or controversial topics, you, on the other hand, don't want to waste your time. So you're being quite direct. And you might even say, like, oh, what's your opinion on XYZ? And you're not giving anything away. Like, you're not asking a leading question or influencing their response by giving your opinion. You're just kind of letting them talk. And when they say something, you're like, yeah, okay, they did well with that one. Like, that's what you're thinking to yourself. Because maybe sometimes when you ask these questions, people out themselves, and it doesn't even have to be anything controversial either. But it could just be you're a person who scopes out what kind of person someone is before giving too much of yourself. So it could be like you're literally just walking down the street with this person and you say to them, "Oh, that's a pretty rainbow in the sky." And depending on how this person responds, it tells you what you need to know about them. Obviously, this is just one example, but like if this person immediately responds with, "Oh, you like rainbows? Why? You're not one of those evil alphabet sinners, are you? I hate that they're indoctrinating our children. I think they should just stay in the closet." It's like you'll let this person ramble on, but you're thinking, "Oh, yeah, not them." And you don't let them have any more of your time and energy. And with this person, opposite to that, they're doing all the right things, honestly. And yes, they want to impress you, but also they genuinely are this King of Cups. I think the more you guys talk, the more you find you like them because it's clear this person's opinions are aligned with yours, and it's clear that they have a good amount of life experience and they're not just making assumptions based on lack of depth or immaturity. I think you like that this is a calm and tolerant person. They seem like someone who can give a balanced perspective, and they are diplomatic and compassionate when it comes to all different kinds of people. And I think you really like that about them. They have enough maturity to understand different perspectives, and they're also easygoing. Like, I think they are down for an adventure, similar to you. If you were to suggest a date idea, they'd be like, "Yeah, let's go for it." They're not my way or the highway. I think on this date, they're going to be affectionate and romantic, but it's not in an overbearing way. This person could have been married in the past. That won't apply to everyone, but it could be that this person is still married at the time that you guys meet, and maybe the life situation they're dealing with is the process of separating from a past partner. This person could be a parent, although that does not have to apply. But for someone specific here, I'm getting that this person could be a girl dad or a single dad, and I don't know why. But it just feels like this person does have a masculine energy, but at the same time, they have that more compassionate, nurturing side. Like they'd be the kind of dad who might come across as very tough or macho or stoic on the surface, but then you find out that they spend time learning about how to braid their daughter's hair or something like that. I think they know how to look after people, and I think you feel very taken care of on this date. I also think that you guys are going to be talking a lot about family, and it's clear that family is very important to this person or to both of you, and maybe that's a value you share. Now, this can mean different things to different people depending on the relationship you have with your family and things like that. It could just be that this person makes it clear that they are incredibly devoted and loyal to their family, and that is a trait you really admire. It could be that this person takes care of their aging relatives, or they prioritize their children, and you really like that about them, or they could like that about you. It could be that both of you shared similar childhoods, and if they tell you a story about their family growing up, maybe you bond over that. You're like, "Oh my gosh, my family is the exact same way," or "We used to do that too." Or it could be that one of you grew up having a really close family and the other didn't, but you find a way to bond through that. Or you look at this person and you're like, "I can just tell this person has been raised right. They clearly had a strong male or female role model, and their family sounds really special and amazing." It could be that this person says to you, like, "Oh, my mum would love you. I can't wait to introduce you," or something along those lines. And if it's not to do with the families you came from or shared childhood experiences, it could be in terms of the values you hold and how you would like to create a family going forward. Like, for example, how you think it's best to raise children. Or if both of you came from a difficult family dynamic, maybe you're both very focused on raising the next generation in a stable, happy home. So you both prioritize peace and compromise and good communication in your relationships. And both of you are like, it's nice to find somebody who wants those same things. And it doesn't have to be with children if you don't want that. It could be, in your case, meeting someone who also wants to be child free, and you can still raise happy pets together or focus on other things you both want to do as individuals or as a couple. But there's something here where this first date just solidifies that you're totally on the same page with your expectations for relationships and for family life, and you want the same things, and it endears you even more to each other. Now, with this Seven of Wands, it could be that after this date, this person is quite protective over you. This could be the kind of person who might get annoyed if you say you're walking home alone or something like that. And I don't think this is in an overbearing way, but it's just very clear that quickly you become a part of this person's life and that they care about you very quickly. And it's obvious that they treat the people they care about in this very protective way. So it's not in a way where your freedom feels stifled or anything like that. But if you were to say, "I'm walking home," this person will be like, you can't do that. Do you want me to come and pick you up? Because that's also what they do for a friend or a relative in a similar situation. And gender doesn't even matter here. If you're a woman walking alone at night, this could be someone like, nah, I'm going to come and pick you up. But even if you're a man and this is a woman, this is someone who is super caring and is like, you're going to walk all that way in the rain? Nah, I'm going to come and pick you up. Like, you both look after each other. This feels very much like a person who has that sort of protective mama bear or daddy bear energy. Like, this will be the kind of person to get very angry if someone is mean to you. Like, if you say that someone was rude to you at work, this is the kind of person who's going to be like, they said what? Give me their address. I just want to talk. And it's not to be patronizing. Like, they know that you can fight your own battles, but it's just something they do where they have this really caring streak and they get upset if anyone has upset you. For some of you, it could be that you do have to keep this relationship on the down low for a while. It could be if this person has a toxic ex or anything like that who would try to get in the way. It's like this person wants to protect you from that person. So maybe they have to keep you off socials, or they can't do like a hard launch for a while until that person is fully removed from their life. That won't apply for everyone, but maybe just for a couple of people here. But I do think they're going to make it clear from the off that you are theirs in some way. And I don't mean it in the way that you're a possession. It's not like that. But I get the impression that this person prioritizes the safety of anyone they care about. And it's not just romantically, it could be like, this is not at all an aggressive or violent person, but if someone hurt their friends or family, they'd be up to step up and fight, like that kind of energy. So very quickly, you learn that you're becoming an important part of this person's life, because maybe after this date, this person messages you and they're like, how was your day? And you're like, oh, it wasn't great. You know, this colleague of mine was really rude to me. And they're like, oh, nobody speaks to my girl like that, or nobody speaks to my man like that. It's very sweet because you're like, this person very much sees me as part of their inner circle now. They clearly care about me. It's like they've claimed you in some way, but it's in a way where they want to be protective over you, or they're showing that they're loyal towards you. So let's have a look at what we pulled for your True Love Oracle card, Pile 3. Okay, Pile 3. So we have Number 7, creativity. Yeah, I think both you and this person are creative people, and it seems like you both give each other the opportunity to express yourself when it comes to your ideas. With the imagery on this card, I'm also just hearing endless possibilities. Like, you both see so much potential in each other and you encourage each other's growth. Because there are so many things going on in this image, it is making me think like you and this person are up for endless adventures with one another. It's kind of like, we could do this or we could do this. Like, the possibilities of where you could go with this person physically, as in on the first date, or more metaphorically, how you guys could grow as individuals and as a couple. It's like those possibilities are endless. It could feel like one or both of you are able to open doors for one another. Maybe you go on a hot air balloon ride, or there's something about a fair or a Ferris wheel. I'm also seeing like candy floss and somebody winning a stuffed animal. It's interesting we mentioned rainbows earlier too. It could be a synchronicity you guys notice, like you see a rainbow on the day of your date, or someone does little doodles of rainbows, or somebody here has stationery with a rainbow on, or something like that. It could also be that you meet when you are exploring one of your creative pursuits. And if we are looking at a time frame for meeting this person or for this date, we could be looking at 7 days, 7 weeks, or 7 months. The 7th of a month could be significant, maybe a date planned on the 7th of a month, or somebody's birthday is on the 7th, or there could be a 7th month age gap or a 7-year age gap. It could also be that July is significant, the 7th month of the year. So that is what I have got for your reading, Pile 3. I really hope you enjoyed this reading today. If you did like the reading, please do me a massive favour. Please like the video. Please leave me a comment, let me know what resonated, or just claim the pile. That is yours if you would prefer to. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. That would mean the absolute world to me. I am slowly trying to make my way to 1,000 subs, so every single subscriber helps and I would really appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. Take care and I'll see you in the next one, Pile 3. Hi, Pal 4 Collective. If you chose Pal 4 and the Lucid Dreams Tarot with the Singing Ghost, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. So this reading is all about what the first date with your future boo will be like. If you would like a full reading breakdown regarding everything this reading will entail, I recommend checking out the introduction. I go through absolutely everything there, but we are going to be looking into the overall vibe of this date as a whole. We're looking at who this person is. You might know them, you might not know them yet. We're going to be looking at why they want to make you their boo, what is it about you that makes them want to take you out on this date, and then we're going to be doing a deep dive on the before, during, and after of the date itself. Now, I did all my usual disclaimers in the intro, but it's a collective reading, not everything will resonate. Take what's for you and leave the rest for somebody else. We are about to get started with your oracle reading, so you may use this portion of the reading as an energy check and for confirmation you have chosen the right pile. Now, I know that sometimes when we're talking about future tense or energies that you are yet to encounter, it can be very hard to know whether a pile belongs to you. I will try to give as many details as I can during the oracle, but obviously the tarot will be the more thorough portion. I will say that nothing bad will happen if you choose the wrong pile. All it means is that you get to go back and try again with a different pile. Hopefully the first one you choose will feel right and it will be straightforward for you. But if I happen to say, as one example, you and your date could be going skydiving and you know that you would never in a million years go skydiving or do anything like that, then maybe that's a clear sign it's not your pile, and that's okay. So just go in with an open mind, see how you feel. If anything doesn't feel right or if it doesn't feel like your vibe, you are very welcome to pick again. Anyway, let's officially get started, and I'm actually going to talk about the sticker very briefly first of all, in case it gives you a little bit of extra confirmation. So I'm going to pop your sticker here, and I'm going to pop your tarot cards to one side for now, so we can focus on this oracle card in just a moment. But with the sticker, it's interesting, I referred to this as the singing ghost, because that's what I assumed, but there's no actual proof that this ghost is singing, but I think that came through to me for a reason. So somebody here could be a musician, somebody here could be a talented singer, or they could play an instrument. Maybe you or this person used to be in a band, or you used to sing or be on stage growing up. So theatre could be significant to this connection, acting maybe, or spoken word. Somebody here could have done slam poetry, or even stand-up comedy. Somebody here could have a platform and a lot of stage presence. For some, it might be an online platform, like social media type of thing. But if it's not that specifically, it's like you or this person or both of you have some kind of vibe where you capture a lot of attention. Maybe the way you speak commands attention. There could also be something about the way you vocalize yourself being interesting to the other person. Maybe you are attracted to one another's voices. One person in this connection could be more extroverted and the other is more introverted. Someone here could have to stand up in front of an audience and do presentations. It could be that you've seen this person do a work presentation, as one example, in front of a group of people, and you know that they know how to talk or they know how to come across as very confident. Karaoke could be significant to this connection in some way. Maybe that's what some of you would do on a date, although that does not have to be the case. It could be that you and this person met at work, and on a works night out, they dared you to do karaoke, or you did karaoke together, or you watch this person kind of make a fool of themselves by agreeing to do karaoke and actually they can't sing or something like that. But maybe something about it really made you laugh. It could be that this person is very funny and entertaining, or they just know how to tell a story. Maybe this person talks a lot, they're very communicative, or they like to know what's going on in any given situation. This could be a person who kind of likes to know about the gossip, they're down for a good tea spill. But yeah, let's have a look at your oracle card. Okay, pile 4. So we have projections. So it could be that this is a person who is very future orientated, or they have a specific set of goals when it comes to their future. And maybe this is something you both discuss whilst you're on this date. This comes across like somebody who has big ideas, or they have their future mapped out and maybe they're kind of explaining it to you and they're laying out all their plans and they're like, oh, in X amount of years, this is where I see myself. Or they're like, right now I'm studying this so that eventually I can go on to do this and then I can go on to do this. So even if this person is like at this moment in time or in the moment you guys connect, even if that person is like a broke student, they could be the kind of person who is like, I'm in my first year right now, and then eventually I'm going to get my PhD or my master's, and then I'm going to go and do this career. Like they have quite a clear vision in mind of what they want to achieve. So there's a lot about future projections. I mean, this could even be that this person is very future focused when it comes to plans you guys could make after this date. Maybe they say to you, oh, next time we go on a date, we could do this, or I could take you to this place in the future. They make it very clear that they envision a timeline where you guys are in each other's lives or seeing each other again. There could be something about stargazing here or being high up, also something about a skylight coming through. I don't know why. It could be that you guys go on a date that is quite high up, like even a restaurant that is a few stories up and you can see the moon or the stars clearly. This isn't specifically to do with the date itself, but just a random detail for somebody. I'm getting like if one of you drives to the date, I'm getting that somebody parks in a multi-story car park and they have to park quite a way up because there's limited spaces or something like that. So it could be that somebody has to park like right at the very top or a few floors up of this multi-story car park, or like after the date if this person is driving you home or you're driving them home, whichever. It's like maybe you have to go up multiple flights of stairs, like if the lift isn't working or something like that. Maybe this person even lives in a high rise or they own an apartment that is quite high up, or they have a balcony and they take you out there and show you the stars. It definitely feels like this is most likely going to happen at nighttime and maybe even on or around a full moon for some of you. Feels like a time when the sky is clear and maybe you have a good view of the city below or something like that. Or you could even be people watching, like people below you. Maybe both of you like to people watch and have deep talks while you're sat on a rooftop just enjoying each other's company. There might be some kind of view of tall buildings, like you look out the window and you can see, these large buildings or skyscrapers or something like that. So potentially a date in a bustling city. With the moon on this card coming through and the same projections, it could be that there is some kind of element of a hidden crush here, or there's some sense of you both maybe projecting things onto one another at first. It doesn't have to be, like some of you will have not met this person yet, but for those of you where you have met, this could be a situation where you both feel a kind of a vibe, but you're unsure about each other for a while. Like maybe one person is uncertain about whether the other feels the same way, or both of you are confused as to why you are feeling this way. Like you're acquaintances, but there's a bit of a funny feeling or a vibe there, and you can't really figure each other out. There's a bit of a mystery, or someone is keeping this hidden. This won't be for everyone, but for some of you, this is giving me almost like a kind of enemies to lovers vibe. That doesn't have to be the case, but with projection, it could be when you guys meet initially, you're both projecting onto each other and you mistake strong chemistry for hostility, or both of you kind of trigger each other's shadow aspects in some way. Or maybe when you very first meet, there's some element of one or both of you thinking, I'm not going to get along with this person, but then there's actually a lot of untapped potential or chemistry or passion that's shrouded by a feeling of competition or a feeling of confusion, maybe. I don't know. It's almost giving like work rivals to work romance. Or, as one example, if this is, say, a friend of a friend, it could be like at first hearing of this person kind of winds you up because maybe your friend is talking about them a lot and you're like, I'm sick of hearing about this person. They sound really annoying, or even like they sound too good to be true, or I'm probably not going to like them. And maybe they feel the same way about you when your friend mentions you to them. But when the two of you guys actually meet, you really hit it off and there's a spark, and maybe it's kind of unexpected or something like that. This could also be like not your usual type, is another message that I'm getting. So that is what I'm getting for the oracle portion of your reading. We are about to move along to the tarot. I really hope you are enjoying the reading so far, Powerful. And I'll see you at the tarot portion of your reading. Hi Powerful Collective, welcome back to the tarot portion of your reading. Without hesitation, let's get started and have a look at the first 4 cards that we pulled for you. So we're going to be asking, who is this person? How might you know them? Obviously some of you won't know them yet, and if that's the case, this is just who to look out for. So let's have a look at these cards. We have got Strength. We've got the Devil. We've got the Queen of Wands. And we have got the 10 of Wands reversed. This is kind of funny, Powerful, but there's something about when you meet this person, or at least when you hear about them initially, you're like, nah, it's not going to be them. Like, they're not up to the challenge. Or you're saying, I don't think they can take the heat. I don't think they have what it takes to be my boo. That's at first, okay? But this person, they do actually surprise you. So this could be to do with initial impressions, but it could also have something to do with the circumstances of your meeting and maybe certain assumptions you have about them based on the way you encounter them. So as one example, maybe when you hear about this person, if this is through a friend, you could think from the way that this person describes them that this person isn't going to be your type. Or even when you meet them based off looks alone, you could think to yourself, this isn't my usual type, or you judge them one certain way, but then actually once you get speaking, you discover there's some kind of vibe there, or that you're attracted to this person and you find them tempting, and maybe you don't really know why, because they're not your usual. So it could be to do with looks, or it could be to do with a certain characteristic or a behavior where you think like, I'm not going to be into this person, but surprisingly you are. So, as one example, maybe your friend describes them and your friend is like, oh yeah, they're super muscly, or they're super into the gym, or they're a gym instructor, they're really into fitness. And if you know that's not generally your thing, you're like, oh, I'm not really attracted to muscly guys or muscly girls, or I'm not into fitness at all, so I don't think I could be with somebody who's that into fitness. It's like you get this one impression in your head, but when you actually meet them or you talk more, things change and it has you quite surprised, I think. Like maybe in that example, you go in thinking, all they're going to care about is the gym, and that's not really me. I don't think I could get along with this person. But then it becomes apparent that, fitness is just one tiny aspect of their life, but maybe they're also into poetry or they're into lots of other things that you're into, and you're like, oh, okay, like maybe I got this person wrong. Or it could be like maybe the first time you meet this person is when they're under the influence of alcohol and it doesn't leave the best impression, as just one example. Like perhaps you see them on a night out when they're drunk. So maybe you just assume, oh, this person likes to go out and party all the time and I'm not really like that. This was my one night out of the year, so our lifestyles probably won't be compatible. But then maybe it turns out it's the same for this person, and maybe they only got super drunk because drinking isn't something they usually do, and so they just got carried away that one night. And if they embarrass themselves on that night or anything like that, it could even be that for some of you, they add you on socials after, or they message you and say, like, I just want you to know I'm not normally like that, and I hope it didn't leave a bad impression. Like, this was my first night out of the year, and I just got carried away. Maybe you initially think they're like a party guy or girl, but it turns out that most of the time they actually stay in, and so do you. So actually, you are compatible or something like that. It doesn't have to be that specific example. For some of you, not everyone, but for a couple of you, this could have started out like a hookup, maybe even a drunken hookup. And you both know you're attracted to each other, but you don't think it's going to be long term initially. Maybe both of you think, like, oh, I don't usually do hookups, but if this person likes to hook up all the time, they're probably not looking for something serious. They probably want to mess around or be single. But maybe it's surprisingly the same for both of you. Like, both of you initially think that the other is accustomed to this, but maybe there's some kind of confession of like, no, this is the first time I've hooked up with anyone in months or years, and actually, I hardly ever do this. And you realize you're more on the same page of wanting that relationship than what you initially thought. Maybe you think this person is an F boy or an F girl, or they're going to mess you around, but actually, there's a lot of things you maybe don't know about them. It could be that you think this person is too bonded to the material, like maybe at first you think they're superficial and that's all there is to them, but that's not the full truth. It could be that this person is, as one example, super into designer clothing or into having a nice car, and you kind of think, oh, this person is not for me because I'm more into the spiritual, I'm more into someone having emotional depth, but maybe that side of them is just one side. And the more you get to know them, it's like, actually, this human has something about them that's worthy of exploring further. This could be a person who comes across as very confident, and maybe you assume with that comes a certain degree of arrogance, or maybe, this person does come across at first as kind of arrogant, like straight up. But I think it's like the more you discover about this person, the more you realize that that's them trying to be funny. This could be the type of person where if somebody compliments them or tells them they look good, they're like, thanks, I know. And maybe because they are physically attractive, you think they're being cocky or you think they think they're better than other people. But actually, this confidence is almost kind of a mask, or it's them making a joke or being sarcastic or playful or whatever the case may be. And maybe the more you get to know them, the more you realize actually they've dealt with a lot of their own insecurities or they've had to step up and be strong. There's definitely more to them than meets the eye. I'm really getting the sense of like when you first meet them, it's not that you don't think they deserve to be confident, but it's kind of like, oh, well, of course they're confident because they're attractive. They've probably always got what they want based on their looks or charm. They've probably never been told no, so why wouldn't they be confident? But maybe the more you get to know them, the more you realize that hasn't always been the case. Maybe they have been rejected a lot or they've been through struggles that other people haven't been through. Maybe, as one example, they grew up being picked on and they had to battle a lot of insecurities that kind of forced them to become this strong and confident person. Maybe they're only more confident now because they've worked hard to become that person. And I think you admire the fact that they've been able to overcome a lot of these doubts and find their inner strength and give themselves some of this compassion. Some of them could have dealt with addictions or they've had family members who had addictions or something like that, although I know that might only apply to just one or two people. It could be that this person comes across as fiery and talkative, so you think that they're going to be very me, 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 or you think they might be a little bit selfish, but then actually you see them wanting to help others and you really like that about them. It could also be that you encounter this person when they're having to multitask in some way, like they're juggling lots of different things at once, and you see them handling these things or coping with these things really efficiently, or you see them maybe delegating tasks, and you're like, oh, that's kind of hot actually, the way that they can have a lot of things sort of thrown at them and they know how to organize it all. So that could be in like a work situation. This is something you notice about them. I definitely think you do think this person is hot, but at first there's going to be some sense of like, oh, I just think they're going to be an asshole. Or you're like, oh, they're hot, but they know they're hot. And that's kind of annoying. But actually, they do have different sides to them. So you might need to give them a chance. They could be, I'm hearing like an unexpectedly good person. It could even be like this is a customer who comes into your work for some of you. That doesn't have to apply, but there's something where you assign a certain characteristic to them because you view them through this one lens at first. So maybe let's say it's that person who comes into your work and in the past they've been a little bit demanding or they've come across as a bit hot tempered, or you always see them, wearing a business suit and talking to someone really assertively on the phone. And you think, like, oh, that's just another arrogant businessman, probably like a Nepo baby or something. And then maybe you mention to your colleague, like, oh, that guy is so arrogant, or that girl who comes in is so full of herself. And maybe your colleague is like, oh, you mean this person? Actually, I knew them in high school and they used to get bullied pretty badly. Or actually, they're a really kind person. They're not how they come across at all. They might seem selfish, but actually, they spend their time donating to animal charities or something like that. It doesn't have to be that specific example, but it's an encounter that really humanizes this person in some way. And you're just like, okay, maybe they're not as bad as I thought. It doesn't have to be something that someone says, but maybe when you usually see this person, they're very distracted or they don't really give you the time of day, or maybe they don't really smile much. So you assume they must be like stuck up. But then you encounter them in a different place and they're just so different. They smile at you and they're really making the effort to have conversation. And you're like, oh, they're actually really nice. They're nothing like what I thought. It could be you often see this person when they're super stressed at work, as just one example, but maybe then when you see them out and about or at like a works party, they're just in such a different energy. So that is how you might know who this person is. So let's have a look at the next few cards. Let's have a look at why this person wants to take you out or make you their boo. What is it about you that has them feeling this kind of way? Okay, so we have got the Lovers. Interesting. We've got the King of Wands. And we've got the Ace of Cups. And we've got the Seven of Swords. Oh, I don't know, for some of you, there's something like they want you because you know how to play them at their own game and they weren't expecting it. It could be like you get one over on them or you show them up in some way, you make them reveal their hand. I mean, we have all these really, really great cards, but then this Seven of Swords is throwing me off here, and it's bringing me back to that feeling of this, potentially being enemies to lovers, or it feels like you guys are in some kind of contest or competition initially. So it could start off by a bit of gameplay in here, I'm not going to lie, but what I'm sensing is like you know how to play better, and this is one of the things that this person really likes about you. Maybe this person thinks that they're being strategic, but it's like you had them where you wanted them all along, or something along those lines. Now, this could be something as simple as you outwitting this person in a social setting. Some of you could be extremely witty, or you know how to gain the upper hand. Maybe they don't expect you to be this smart, or this funny, or this witty, or you're both, respectively in your own friendship circles, the funny one or the one that makes people laugh. So maybe it's like when you're out with this person, they want to try and beat you to the punchline. Maybe they even say something to make the group laugh, but then you add on to it by saying something even funnier, and they're kind of like triggered by it in a way because they're used to being the funny one, but also they admire it. They're kind of like, oh, why didn't I think of that? And I think it kind of challenges them, but in a way they like. It could also be, as one example, they try to tease you and they think that they've got you or that they've roasted you with something they've said, but then you retaliate with some amazing comeback and it kind of bruises their ego. But at the same time, they're like, Balfour really got me there. Like, I can't even deny it. That was good. But it could be that it kind of throws them off or confuses them. If, as one example, this is just one example, it doesn't have to be this one, but if this is a man and in the past they've had a bit of a misogynistic view of thinking like women aren't funny and they see you disproving that, there's some element at first of like they feel in competition with you because they feel like it's a masculine trait to be funny. So at first they're like, no, I've got to be the funniest in the room, or, I'm the one with the dark sense of humor. But then maybe they're like, wait, why am I trying to be in competition with this person? Or why am I seeing them as a threat when finally I found someone whose humor matches mine? As just one example, it doesn't have to be that one. But they're like, wait, I'm trying to compete with this person, but actually, this is all I've ever wanted. Like somebody who matches me. And actually, I'm not threatened by it. I'm impressed by it. Like, I want to take this person out because they can keep me on my toes. They like the fact that you're daring or that you're not afraid to go there with some of the things that you say. It could be something, like, as just one example, and again, this won't apply to everyone, but if this started out as a hookup, it could be that you played them at their own game in that way, because maybe they expected you to be one particular way after the hookup, but you kind of threw their expectations out of the water and it got them in their feelings. So maybe they went in overconfident that you behave a certain way based on what they've experienced with other people previously. So they were like, oh, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to hook up with pal 4 and they're going to get attached to me. They're going to be really needy. They're going to be calling me all the time and I'm going to have to tell them that I'm not looking for anything. But maybe it's like the opposite happens when you and them hook up. And it doesn't have to be that they're some like scheming person or anything like that, but maybe this is the kind of person where they have an awareness that usually people get attached to them easily or whatever the case may be. So maybe in terms of this hookup, they're like, listen, babe, if we do this, you can't get attached. This is purely physical, okay? And you're like, okay. And they're kind of like, don't say I didn't warn you because I've got the best D or the best V. So I know that you're going to get hooked. Maybe they kind of come in like that, a little bit cocky, and you're just like, okay. And then you respect their boundaries. You guys hook up and you don't text, you don't call because they ask you not to. But there's almost this sense of them looking at their phone and being like, but why haven't they texted? Why haven't they called? So the shoe is on the other foot. Like they're used to being chased and you get them wanting to do the chasing. Maybe a week goes by and they haven't heard from you and you've got them in their feelings and they're asking people like, oh, have you heard from pal 4 recently? What are they up to? Maybe they ask a mutual friend and the friend is like, oh, pal 4's good. They're just living their life. They're having fun. They're dating. And this person is like, what do you mean they're dating? What do you mean having fun? Like dating other people? And so they realize the just a hookup that they were so insistent on, they now want it to be more. But you played them at their own game. I'm hearing the song Just Like Me. I think it's by T.I. and Jamie Foxx. It's an old song, but it's like this person saying, wow, I didn't think pal 4 was like this, but they're just like me, or they played me at my own game and I can't even be mad about that. I don't know, that might just apply to just one person here, but this could definitely start off as a hookup or as friends with benefits or as just casual, but you guys realize you do want each other in a way that's more than that. I don't want to feed anyone's delulu here, but it's like there's an expectation on the surface that you guys are so different, but at a soul level, you are so similar. Like you understand each other's motivations so well, but there's almost this sense of this person thinking like you're the better version of them. They're kind of like, pal 4 is me if I have my shit together. It's like you start to realize the two of you are a lot more similar than you are different with that lover's card. And maybe what starts off as this physical connection, you realize the two of you are actually kindred spirits or soulmates or lovers on a different level. Like this could actually be a partnership that could work. They see that with you. With this King of Wands, I think this person is so into you because they like that you go after what you want. And I think they also like that you have a fiery side. Some of you could be very assertive in the bedroom and they're not used to that. I want to say they like that you're selfish, but you're not selfish. I don't mean it like that. Perhaps it's the wrong word. But when we got that message of you kind of playing them at their own game, if ever in the past this person could be self-centered or even as one example a selfish lover or something like that, maybe you're the one that teaches them that it can't be that way and they kind of like that. So you teach them not to be selfish. I know that sounds weird, but if this is about the physical, you could kind of tell them what to do. You could boss them around, or you could be like, hey, it's not all about you, like my pleasure matters. And they like this because maybe nobody has said that to them before. And with you, it's like you make them work for it. You make them put in the effort here. So it's not that you're selfish, but it's like they enjoy seeing you take. They enjoy seeing you take what you want from an experience. They could like that you're experienced, and I don't necessarily mean that you have to have slept with a lot of people, but I think they like that you know your own body, or you're not afraid to take charge, or you can show them things that they haven't seen before. It doesn't have to be physically, it could be in terms of life experience generally. Maybe they're not used to sort of being put in their place and they like that you're willing to do that. You kind of show them what to do and they didn't initially expect that from you. It's a very pleasant surprise for them. They could like that you come across as very funny and friendly, but you're also a proud person. You can also be hot tempered and come across as strong and confident, just like them. They admire that. With this Ace of Cups, it could be that they encounter you at a social event and they're like, who is that? Or it sparks new feelings within them. Maybe if they're used to seeing you in a certain setting, like at work, and then they see you out of work, that makes them want to ask you out because they see you being more yourself or showing this different side to you. You definitely give this person new, exciting feelings. I think they like seeing you enjoy things. Like, I'm hearing it brings them joy to see you enjoying things. This could even be a person who, like, if they've ever seen you eat, they'll say to you, like, oh, looks like you're enjoying that. And they like seeing it. They're not being sarcastic. They just genuinely enjoy seeing you enjoy things. So let's have a look at the day. We're looking at the before, during, and after of this experience. So this is going to be all about your day, maybe more about how you're feeling or how this person's feeling and the general vibe of this encounter. Okay, so we have got the Magician. We have got the Knight of Wands. We have got the Six of Wands. We have got the Knight of Pentacles. We've got the Emperor. We've got the Chariot. We've got the Ace of Wands. And we've got Temperance. Okay, it feels like this person has tricks up their sleeve that they're going to try and use to impress you on this date. There's something about them being resourceful or having a certain influence that grants you access to opportunities that other people might not have. So it could be taking you to somewhere more exclusive because they know the right people, or they somehow have ways to get behind the red tape, or they have this access that not everyone has. It's almost making me think like they pull some strings to get you to this place or to make sure that you're having a good time. So this could be taking you to a specific area of a building that, essentially not everyone has the keys to. It could be somehow getting past the locked doors and taking you to the rooftop to look at the stars, literally. Or it could be getting you into the VIP area of the club that's usually super expensive, or getting you a free pass to something that's usually reserved for just a couple of people. It could be gaining entry into some kind of area that hasn't even been opened yet to the public, or allowing you to stay in an area that is usually closed past a certain time. But it feels like they use the power of who they know for you guys to be there, and so they can show you something and make you feel special. It could even be something super simple. If it's not the place itself, it's just like they pull some strings and they manage to get you extras. So if they take you to a meal, they manage to get like an extra dessert for free. Or if it's past last orders and you're at a bar and you're like, oh, that's a shame, I was going to order another drink. They manage to get you a drink and they're like, I pulled some strings to make this happen, that kind of thing. Obviously, that's just one example, but they're doing this because they want to make this a magical time for you. And there's something where you're like, how did you do that? Or like, what's your next trick going to be? Maybe they just know people who own that club, or they know people at the function who can kind of give them this special treatment. Like, maybe they say to these people, look, I'm on a date with Pal 4 and I really want to impress them. Can you help? It's something along those lines. Or it could be like you're on this rooftop together gazing at the stars, and you're like, the one thing that would make this more perfect is if we had a bottle of wine to share. And then they pull one out of their jacket and they're like, don't worry, I already thought of that. It's sort of this rabbit out of a hat kind of moment. And I feel like the thing is, as well, it's like this is someone who is making it very obvious that you're on a date with the Six of Wands in particular. It's like this person wants to be seen with you. They want to kind of show you off in some way. I think they feel good about themselves and confident when they're seen with you or when you're seen in public. I do feel like initially they are probably going to take you somewhere public because they like when the two of you get noticed. They like it if other people were looking at you and noticed that you were on a date. It's not in a way of like they see you as a trophy, but it's in a way of they sort of feel lucky to be in your company. And if they don't get that opportunity again, they kind of want everyone to be around to witness it so they can say, I did get that date with pal 4. I managed to bag pal 4, even if it's just for one night or one experience. I almost want to say this person is your biggest fan, and I know that sounds a little strange because initially we discussed how this felt kind of like enemies to lovers, or like this person is in competition with you in some way. But once they get past that, it's like they feel a sense of victory just by being with you and essentially like just by having you on their arm. They kind of want people to ask who you are so they can introduce you, and they might even make some kind of joke about it, like, oh, hopefully my future wife, or, hopefully my future husband if the date goes well. Which I guess if just anyone said that, it could come across as really creepy, but I do think this person manages to do it in a way that's sort of charming. Obviously, they don't say it how I said it, but they don't make you feel uncomfortable. Like, you can tell they're joking, but also you can tell that they're very proud to be seen with you or to be associated with you. If they take you somewhere where they kind of know other people, like they have friends who work at the place they take you to, as just one example, it's like they fully expect those people to come up to them afterwards and be like, who's that? Like, I can't believe Pal 4 gave you a chance, or you're punching above your weight there, because they know you're attractive and they know that a lot of people would want this opportunity with you. They know that the spotlight is going to be on you and that people are going to be interested in who you are or how you know them. They know there's going to be maybe well wishers, like friends of theirs, who say to them, Pal 4 seems amazing, like you've picked a great one there, or something along those lines, that they're just so proud to be seen with you. It makes them feel on top of the world or like they're winning at life. I feel like we've had the Knight of Wands come up a few times in these readings, and I do think that this person does want to come in and kind of sweep you off your feet. I feel like they're also very adamant though about doing everything right. Because if you ever felt like this person was a bit of an F boy or F girl, they kind of know that you're not going to be able to take them seriously if they come in with their usual tricks or their usual player ways or anything like that. So there might be something where they want to be hasty, but they're holding back a bit or trying to prove that they can be more sort of steadfast and solid when it comes to this, so that you know that they're in it for the long haul. So they're going to be flirty, they're going to be making it clear they're interested, it's going to be fun, and they're still going to have that very playful side to them, but they also kind of want to show you another side to them so you know that they're not messing around when it comes to this. I keep getting the word cheeky for this person, I don't know why. So if that's the case, it's not like they're going to lose any of their cheekiness, but I think they might be coming across as a little bit more mature or grounded. I think they're wanting to make sure this experience is perfect for you without being too much. So I think they're going to be showing up as confident and fearless. Like, this is the kind of person where if you were to say, I'm not too keen on my starter, but you're not really the type to say something about that, they're going to be like, what? You don't like your food? Let me sort it. I'll ask for something different for you. It also feels like they're still kind of their adventurous selves, and I'm hearing something about you guys maybe even playing dares. Like someone saying, oh, go on, I dare you to do that. Even on the date, maybe. It's like you're having a laugh with this person, but it just feels like more significant than the jokes and the having fun. Like, that's a part of it, but it's not all about that. The Knight of Pentacles can talk about finishing what you started. It could be that this person has asked you out a number of times and maybe you've said no in the past, or they've had to be persistent when it comes to getting you on this date. So maybe now that they've got you there, it's like they could make a jokey comment to you, like, well, now I need to prove that I'm worthy, or, now I need to really impress you, don't I? Or something like that. They've had to be patient, or someone here has had to be patient for you to end up in this situation. So now that they've sort of got you where they want you, they don't want to mess it up by being presumptuous or by expecting too much. I definitely feel like with this temperance card, they have to moderate themselves here. And again, I think this is going back to what we said about they feel like they have to hold back a little bit. And it's not in a bad way. I think it's more like them saying, I don't want Pal 4 to get the wrong impression of me, or I don't want Pal 4 to think I'm only in this for one thing. Because with this Ace of Wands, this person, let me say, this person is extremely attracted to you. So maybe it's like that attraction is overwhelming, and whether or not you've been physical with this person before, or even if you've only just met when you have this date, they know from the moment that they encounter you that they want you in that way. But maybe they don't want you to think that they're in it just for that. They want this date to be not just about that. So maybe they're having to convince themselves not to go too far. Maybe it's like what they actually want to do is to take you into the bathroom right there and then and do whatever, things that I'm probably not allowed to say on YouTube. But this chariot, I know the chariot is interesting because it can talk about like going full steam ahead. But the thing about the chariot is it's about willpower. So it's like they're holding back from taking things too far, almost to kind of show you like it's not just all about that. Or they're trying to show you, I care about this date and it's not all about the physical. They want to show you that they have self control because maybe in the past you thought that that was lacking. It could even be like you guys share a passionate kiss at the end of the date and they say something to you like, I want to do so much more with you right now, but I'm trying to be respectful, or something along those lines. But maybe the tension is palpable, you are both very excited. You can definitely tell that this person is excited based on the limited physical contact that you guys have. And I think it gets you even more worked up and kind of craving each other more. I think this person wants to show you, like, I'm not just this F boy or F girl who doesn't know how to handle an adult relationship. I can step up and be this emperor. I can step up and plan a date that's not just Netflix and chill or not just all about the physical. Like, they're kind of saying, I can keep a level head even if I am thinking about other things that I'd like to do with you. It's almost like they're kind of convincing themselves of this because they really want to prove to you that they are worth your time. In terms of the after, again, I think they're trying to maintain that balance and maintain that level head. They're not going hot and cold. I think they're trying to be consistent in terms of communication without rushing things. But I think it's very clear from this dynamic you're both going to be left wanting more following the date. The spark is definitely there and the romantic connection is blossoming, but you and this person are both taking your time when it comes to exploring what this connection means and whether it can become something more solid. They know they can't come in all guns blazing and treat this as just any old connection. I feel like afterwards they are going to show restraint, as in they don't want to say too much too soon and they don't want to immediately jump to sexy talk or anything like that. But I think they are going to make it clear that they're very into you and very attracted because they could even bring up something that happened. Like if you guys kissed, let's say, their mind is kind of lingering on that. And maybe they say to you, like, that kiss though, dot dot dot. Or they could even acknowledge, like, I almost got carried away, or I got really caught up in that moment, or, I was thinking about that for days afterwards. They say something along those lines. It's going to make it clear they're still thinking about it and they're very much interested in seeing where this goes. So that is what I'm getting for the tarot portion of your reading. Let's have a look at the card we pulled out of the True Love Oracle. Okay, powerful. So we have got card number 19, Life Purpose. So you might encounter each other when one or both of you are pursuing something in alignment with your life purpose. It doesn't have to be work necessarily, but of course that could apply to some of you. There's something about you working on your goals or working towards something when you encounter this person or when this date happens. The imagery on this card is so interesting to me as well because we have the two doves here, and doves always make you think of peace and harmony and balance. And we did get temperance when we looked at your date, so it could be something like at first the two of you thought you weren't going to get on, or you thought you were too different, or you thought this connection wasn't going to be very peaceful. But there could be something that happens on this date, a discussion that you guys have that makes you realize that actually you have a lot more similarities than you do differences, and actually you get along a lot better than what you both initially thought. It's sort of this I come in peace energy with these doves. I keep hearing the phrase I come in peace. So if you ever had a bit of tension in your connection, like if at first you didn't get on, or you found this person arrogant, or you didn't like something about them, or they didn't like something about you, it's you guys sort of holding your hands up and being like, come on, like we both want the same things here. And that could also apply if there was ever like this physical chemistry in your connection, but both of you were concerned with playing games or trying to get one over on the other. It could be putting that to one side and prioritizing peace and the growth of this relationship. It could also be someone like waving a flag of surrender and kind of saying, look, we both know we have feelings for each other. Let's stop fighting this and just really see where this goes. Let's try to be open and honest with each other instead of trying to wind each other up or get a rise out of one another. There could be something about the two of you having this connection because you are part of each other's life purposes. That's something that maybe you will discover when you officially get together. Maybe you set each other down a path of aligning with your goals or purpose. If we are talking about a potential time frame, the number 19 could be significant. This could be 19 days or weeks. It could be 1 to 9 days, weeks, or months from now. 19 could be a significant date, it could be an age, or it could be someone's birthday, or a specific date in a month when you encounter this person or you go on this date. Or 1919 could be a synchronicity you are seeing a lot of. That does not have to apply, but it's just a little bit of extra confirmation if that is the case. So that is what I'm getting for the tarot portion of your reading, pile 4. I really, really hope you enjoyed this reading today. If you did enjoy the reading, please do me an absolutely huge favour. Please like the video. Please leave me a little comment. Let me know what resonated, or just claim the pile that is yours if you would prefer to. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. That is the easiest and best way to support me. I am slowly making my way to 1,000 subs, so any support is very, very much appreciated. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one, pile 4. Hi, Pal 5 Collective. If you chose Pal 5 and the lovely Ladies Tarot with the reading ghost sticker, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. So this reading is all about what the first date with your future boo will be like. If you would like a full reading breakdown regarding everything this reading will entail, I recommend checking out the introduction. I go through absolutely everything there, but we are going to be looking into the overall vibe of this date as a whole. We're looking at who this person is. Please bear in mind, you might know them, but you might not know them yet. We're going to be looking at why they want to make you their boo, what is it about you that makes them want to take you out on this date, and then we're going to be doing a deep dive on the before, during, and after of the date itself. I did all my usual disclaimers in the intro, but you know, it's a collective reading and not everything will resonate. Take what's for you and leave the rest for somebody else. We are about to get started and have a look at your oracle card. I'm actually just going to pop your sticker and the tarot cards to one side for now so we can focus on this oracle card here. So you may use this portion of the reading as an energy check and for confirmation you have chosen the right pile. I know that sometimes when we're talking about future tense or energies that you are yet to encounter, it can be very hard to know whether a pile belongs to you. I will, of course, give as many details as I can during the oracle portion, but obviously the tarot will be the more thorough portion. What I will say is that nothing bad will happen if you choose the wrong pile. All it means is that you get to go back and try again with a different pile. Hopefully the first one you choose will just feel right and it will be straightforward for you. But if I happen to say, you know, for example, you and your date could be going skydiving and you know that you would never in a million years go skydiving or do anything like that, then maybe that's a clear sign it's not your pile. So just go in with an open mind, see how you feel. If anything doesn't feel right or it doesn't feel like your vibe, you are very welcome to pick again. Anyway, let's officially get started. So let's start off by having a little chat about the sticker you chose today. You picked the ghost reading. So somebody here could be super into their books and into reading. Somebody here could be the type of person who has pretty intense reading stints, or they find it easy to get hyperfixated on a book when they are interested in the topic. If it's not books, maybe you or this person or both of you like to go on deep dives when it comes to topics you're intrigued by. So it could be deep dive YouTube videos, or you deep dive on certain Reddit threads, something like that. You could have a particular genre when it comes to books that you bond over, or you have a shared interest and you're both super obsessed with a particular thing. You could encounter this person in a community that's associated with that topic or that hobby. This could be in person or online, although that does not have to apply specifically. I am getting the sense that both of you could kind of be introverts. Maybe one or both of you grew up being a bit of a bookworm or going through a lot of different books. Somebody here could have been in a gifted and talented program growing up. Somebody here could even write themselves, or they have their own published book, or they want to publish a book in the future. You or this person or both of you could really value an intellectual connection in your relationships and friendships. Like maybe one or both of you can only really feel attracted to someone when you're on a similar level mentally or something like that. There's something about sapiosexuality coming through here. Someone is attracted to brains. Maybe someone is kind of intellectual, or they have a lot of random knowledge about certain things. Somebody here could be kind of shy or reserved. They keep themselves to themselves. They mind their business. Maybe they don't always speak what's on their mind. So this could be someone in your life who is kind of like a secret crush. That doesn't have to apply. Maybe you just haven't met this person yet, but if you have met them, or there's someone who sounds like this in your life, it could be that you are a secret crush for them. Like they haven't told you they have feelings for you. But yeah, let's take a look at your oracle card because I'm kind of curious now, pile 5. So we have got the messenger. Okay, so that's interesting. So for some of you, this person could get somebody else to tell you that they have a crush on you, or that they're interested, initially at least. You could hear about this crush from somebody else. Maybe it's like this person doesn't even want to tell you about it because they're embarrassed, or they think it won't be reciprocated. So maybe they tell someone, I have a crush on pile 5, but then they're like, but don't you dare tell them. But then somebody tells you anyway, or they send you screenshots or something like that. This could also be indicating that a date is initiated via messages rather than somebody calling or asking in person, which makes sense. I mean, I feel like a lot of things are initiated by messages or DMs these days, but there's something significant about you seeing a notification from this person popping up on your phone. So they could reach out to you by sliding into your DMs or shooting their shot in that kind of way. Or maybe this is just someone who has been messaging you for a while, like they've been in communication, you guys have been friends, but they haven't asked you out yet. They're in your DMs, but nothing has really been initiated. But maybe they're going to pop up when they next message and officially ask to take you out or something along those lines. There could be something about long distance here for a couple of you because the pigeon imagery is making me think of pigeons delivering messages between bases during the war. I don't know about you, but I love pigeons. I think they're so underestimated. I never actually thought I'd be a bird person. I used to think like bird watching is such a weird old man hobby, but one day I just found myself looking at birds more and more and kind of saying to other people, look at that bird or look at those birds. So I guess I'm a bird girl now. I love birds. I think pigeons are so cute. And I hate hearing about how we essentially domesticated them and, they helped to save our lives when we needed it. And now that we as humans don't need them, we treat them like crap. I mean, there could be a message in there about you or this person or this connection. Maybe one or both of you have been treated poorly or selfishly by other people in previous connections, and you're not looking for that to happen again. I guess it could make you a bit guarded if that applies. Somebody here could just really like birds, or they have some kind of bird as a pet, or they make the effort to feed the birds in their local area. This person could also be very observant, like they notice a lot of smaller details. I don't know why, but this person could also be someone who is good with directions, is something I'm getting, or they have a good memory. Maybe it's like they go to a place once and they can remember how to get there the next time, or something like that. I know that isn't a super crazy skill, but it's a skill that I definitely envy because that is so not me. I have friends' houses that I've been to multiple times and I still get confused about which house it is. This person could be like a bit more of a home bird. Maybe they're not really the partying type. I also keep hearing the word domesticated now that I've said that. So maybe there's something about them where they really know how to look after themselves and their home, or they are a really good cook, or they keep their place neat and tidy, or it's very tastefully decorated, something along those lines. I'm also picturing someone sat by the window on a rainy day reading a book, and that time they have to themselves is just an integral part of their day or their weekend. Like whenever they get time off, maybe that's what they like to do. They like to chill, they like to read, maybe they like to game or just do kind of low key things. I'm getting that this is quite a calm person, quite a collected person. There's maybe something gentle or quiet about them generally, but they could also have a very logical mind when it comes to things like maps and directions and practical things. It's something like that. Could be something about meeting or talking in an online community. I don't actually know what this date is yet. I really don't. I guess it could involve going to a bookstore or spending time at someone's house, but we will see when we look at the tarot and see if we can get any more clues. I'm getting that this is a person who doesn't necessarily like to reveal everything, so maybe they're keeping some of this as a secret or a surprise at this point. Maybe this is for a reason why we're not getting too much information about the actual date yet. But let's have a look at your tarot and we'll see what we pull for you. I really, really hope you are enjoying the reading so far. I hope the oracle portion of the reading is resonating. If it is, I will see you in the tarot portion of your reading, Pal 5. Hi, Pal 5 Collective. Welcome to the tarot portion of your reading. We are going to be looking at the first 4 cards and we're asking, who is this person? How might you know them? Some of you won't know them yet, so this, in that case, is just who to be looking out for. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you. We have got the Hermit, we've got the Page of Pentacles, we've got the Moon, and we have got the Seven of Wands. So one thing I'm getting is that this person does things in a way that's like nothing you've ever experienced before, and I think that throws you off kilter and it might actually be a little bit confusing to you initially. Like we did mention in the oracle, I think this person doesn't give too much away. So maybe there's some element of you're quite surprised when you find out they're into you in that way, because maybe they're not somebody who really expresses that very openly. Like maybe for some of you, you weren't too sure if they were attracted to you, or I'm getting in some instances you weren't really sure if they were even attracted to anyone, because maybe they don't come across as super flirty or they haven't made it clear that they're interested in you in that way. And I'm sorry for those of you where this is a person who hasn't come into your life yet. I know this is probably going to sound confusing, but for a lot of you, I do think that this is someone in your life, but maybe you don't know yet that they have feelings for you in this way. Obviously, that won't be for everyone, but it could be that this is a platonic friend or an acquaintance or somebody who messages you from time to time and you'd never even know that they felt this way because maybe they've never told you. With this moon, I think they keep a lot of stuff hidden deliberately, and some of it could be to do with their own uncertainty and their own insecurity and inability to fully take initiative. Maybe they have a bit of a fear of rejection if they're not sure that you'll feel the same way or something like that. But also, I think a part of it It's like they're not unintelligent. In fact, they're very smart and maybe they know lots about lots of different things and they come across as intellectual, or they're very good at the practical side of life and quite knowledgeable when it comes to certain things. But I think they feel a little bit inadequate when it comes to socializing, or when it comes to that more emotional side of things, or when it comes to expressing themselves. This person could be a person who takes things quite literally, or they don't fully know how to read between the lines, or sometimes they might not understand whether or not you're being sarcastic or you're joking or something. So maybe this is the kind of person where if you were to make a flirty joke, this person might not pick up on the fact you're flirting with them straight away. So maybe they just answer in a very straightforward, friendly way. And I guess on your end, you could be like, well, I guess they're not feeling this because I'm putting it right out there and they've essentially just ignored it. They've not taken the bait. Like they had every opportunity to take this conversation to a bit more of a spicy place and they just haven't taken me on with it. But on their end, it's like they don't realize that you were being flirty or that you wanted them to do that until later. This could be somebody who needs time to process certain social cues. Maybe they could even ask their friends for advice. Like they might say, oh, what did Pal 5 mean when they said this? And the friends are like, Pal 5 was flirting with you. They were obviously flirting with you. Could you not tell? And this person is like, no, they weren't. But it's like they're missing something you said. They're not quite getting it. Maybe it's due to this person's own beliefs about themselves. If they're a little bit insecure, they could be like, oh, Pal 5 doesn't like me like that. Or they could need you to be a little bit more direct. For some of them, it could be that they're neurodivergent and maybe they do just generally struggle a little bit with a neurotypical way of having a conversation. I know that won't be for everyone, and I know not all neurodivergence presents itself in this way. I'm neurospicy too, and I have almost the opposite problem of like reading too much in between the lines and inventing things that aren't there and like hyper empathy. If you know, you know. But for this person, it's like I think they might struggle picking up on sarcasm. And I feel like that isn't at all limited to neurodivergence, by the way, because sometimes it is hard to pick up on those things for anyone, especially when you guys are texting each other and you can't see people's expressions or hear their tone of voice when they say something. That can make all this 10 times harder. So maybe on your end, it's like you could be dropping these little hints with this person and they just kind of miss it. And maybe you feel like that must be intentional on their end. It's like they're purposely missing it because they're not into it, but it's really not. I think they just don't realize until it's too late or until they feel like they fumbled. This person could be intuitive, but maybe they sometimes ignore their intuition in favor of logic because that's what's kept them safe in the past. Maybe they know that there's something between the two of you, but they don't fully trust it because maybe in the past they've been hurt due to the fact that they aren't always the most confident socially or something along those lines. Particularly if this person is neurodivergent, I feel like a lot of us have always had that strong sense of intuition, but because we've also had experiences often being bullied or being shamed for not living up to a certain societal expectation, or because we're trying so hard to focus on masking in particular social interactions, it's like sometimes we push down our inner knowing, or we get to the stage of not trusting it because we're like, but what if I'm wrong, or what if I interpret this situation incorrectly? So this could look like this person getting close to picking up on what you're putting down in a conversational sense. Like maybe you do say something and there's a pause and they have a moment of feeling like, this Pal 5 flirting with me, my intuition feels like there's something here. But then they talk themselves out of it because maybe in the past they've been in situations where people have pretended to like them just to tease them or just to get something out of it. So maybe they've come to the conclusion like, oh, Pal 5 must not be being serious, or I don't think they're actually flirting. So I'm not going to say something to make them uncomfortable because it's not clear to me one way or the other. So I'm just going to stick to what I know to not rock the boat. They're not clear when it comes to you. They don't know if you like them. I think you're a bit of a mystery to them. They can feel the feels, but I think they want to be certain that you feel the same way. I think this is somebody who overthinks a lot of their dialogue. With this hermit, this could be somebody who is big on introspecting, and I get the impression they replay a lot of the things they say in their head, and they're the type of person who is like, why did I say that? Or why didn't I say this? They could go over this a lot. They could kind of ruminate. And I don't think this is the kind of person to just want to blurt things out. I think they like to give themselves time to process. I also think they're quite big on manners and coming across as polite. And if they've ever felt ostracized in any way, they don't want to come across as someone who is weird or someone who doesn't fit in. So they kind of analyze social situations quite a lot and try to think before speaking. But sometimes that might make them come across as a little bit awkward, or it might make them feel like they've missed the boat. Like, as one example, if you said something flirty to this person, it might kind of take them a minute to work out what's happening. So maybe when they're put on the spot, they get a little bit awkward or they're like, oh, because they're thinking of what to say. But then maybe you take that as a lack of interest and you're like, oh, I'm just kidding before they have chance to say anything. And then they think, oh, of course, Pal 5 is just kidding because they could never think that about me. They could never see me in that way. And they don't consider that, maybe you were trying to save face because you've thought that they just weren't into it or whatever. I don't know, it does seem like a really interesting but also confusing dynamic. But you could be used to having people pursue you quite obviously, or you could be used to people flirting with you a bit more shamelessly. And this person isn't like that. And I think it's because they want to be respectful, or they're a little socially anxious, or they're just not used to doing this. But maybe you are assuming that it's like a lack of interest. And so you maybe feel a vibe too. Maybe sometimes you think this person likes you, and then other times you're not so sure. But again, I think this is just because it's not what you're used to. And one thing you might need to ask yourself, Pal 5, if you're listening to this and you're like, this does not sound like my usual type, I think what I want to say is, would that be so bad? And listen, that's not me saying you're not allowed to have a type or be attracted to whoever you're attracted to naturally. But if you're used to going for a certain type of person, I don't mean in terms of looks, but let's say if you're used to going for a super extroverted guy or girl who isn't afraid to tell you how much they want you right off the bat, then there's nothing wrong with that. But equally, if you're coming to a reading about a future boo, I would assume that a lot of you are open to looking for something different than what you've had in the past. And it could be, particularly for those of you who identify as women and you're romantically interested in men, if you're used to men being quite full on when it comes to expressing their physical interest and heavily pursuing you because they desire you in a physical way, it can sometimes feel like rejection when somebody isn't doing that. But make no mistake, this person is very much attracted. It's just they're not solely focused on that aspect of things, and they don't want to come across as creepy if they're not sure that you would be into that, because it seems like they care about you on that friendship level first and foremost. So if you've dropped hints to kind of get a certain response from them and they haven't gone for it, it's not because they don't think you're hot, they do. It's because maybe talking like some suave player just doesn't come extremely naturally to them. So they're thinking like, okay, how can I say something that shows my interest, that's flirty but not too flirty, that also makes Power 5 laugh but also doesn't freak them out? And then it's like the moment has passed and suddenly it's too late or whatever. So maybe they don't have the best riz right off the bat, but the thing is, they can be very witty, but I think they have to feel safe and comfortable with you and have an understanding of your boundaries before they show that side of themselves. And honestly, it's kind of sweet that they lack some of that experience in a way. There's something sort of pure about it. Like, this is the kind of person who I can imagine Googling, like, how do you know if a guy or a girl is flirting with you? I can imagine them trying to get advice off Reddit or through friends or something like that. This definitely doesn't seem like somebody who just gets into relationship after relationship. They might have a sort of small inner circle. They don't need to be the most popular or the most outspoken in any given room. I think, like we said in the Oracle, they could have a very specific interest. They could be a little bit nerdy, or they could be tech geeks, or into science or finance or something like that, although that does not have to apply. And if you're thinking, like, oh no, not finance, bro, it's not like that. I'm just getting the impression that this person excels when it comes to, I want to say, things that follow a certain pattern. Like, there are certain rules to abide by, let's say, when it comes to numbers or to coding and things like that. And that's a space they feel comfortable in because they know what to expect. They might not be the most adaptable person when it comes to last minute changes and things like that. So that's why maybe socializing is difficult, because it doesn't always make sense. It's not always the same set of rules. Everything depends on the context of the relationship and who you're talking to. And that's kind of difficult for this person to get to grips with at times. It doesn't come extremely easy to them, even if they are so intelligent in many other ways. And it's not that they're not emotionally intelligent, they have the intuition, but they just don't always fully trust it because they've been made to feel weird or different in the past. But they're actually so incredibly caring. It's just that they have their own ways to show they care, and they might process certain emotions in a different way to other people. And I also feel like they're not the type of intellectual who would put you down for being more spiritual or believing in certain things. Like, this is a person who would absolutely be open to learning about things like tarot. And even if they don't believe the same things about it as you do, they might come at it from more of like a practical place rather than a spiritual place. And they might be interested in the imagery or learning about the various definitions, something like that. They're not the type of person who's going to be like, oh, why do you do that? That's made up. Like, they're not holier than thou. They're like, oh, cool. And they're asking you questions about it, or they're genuinely intrigued. Another thing that might kind of confuse you about this person is they're not afraid to stand up for their beliefs or tell the truth, even if it means they're not going to be well liked. I think this person has a strong sense of justice sensitivity, but they could have, to a degree, certain fixed views that are quite difficult to change. So this person could be kind of stubborn when it comes to their perspective. So maybe they're not afraid to tell you when they think you're wrong about something because they're so convinced their view is the right one. And I don't think it's because they are egocentric or anything, but I think they are an honest person and they're very concerned with doing the right thing. So if you present them with an idea that challenges whether something is the right thing or not, they might go off the deep end a little bit because that challenges their sense of identity. So they could be very adamant of like, no, 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 that's not right. And you're like, it's not that deep. Come on, let's move on. Let's talk about something else. And this is the kind of person that will write you a paragraph about their perspective on the issue. Like they won't just let it go. They kind of get stuck on certain things. And sometimes it could feel like maybe you're going around in circles. They could come across as a little bit defensive at times, but I think it's because they do struggle with certain social settings and they might find things overwhelming. So it could be that they're the type of person who makes a big deal, like if there's a change of plans and it doesn't feel like something that should be a big deal, but to them it is. It could be you say to this person, oh, is it okay if we make it a little later? And most people might just be like, yeah, cool. But this person is maybe a little bit off about it, or they create some reason why you have to meet at this specific time. So maybe you're kind of like, why are they making this so hard? But I don't think they're trying to be awkward. It just seems like some element of their social anxiety. It's like things have to be a certain way. And there's nothing wrong with someone sticking up for their beliefs, by the way, but I think maybe the reason you're unsure of like, is this person even into me? Because they didn't like this one thing I said or they called me out on something. It's actually because they have a lot of respect for you that they might call you out. Because I feel like a lot of us, particularly if you're a woman who dates men, you'll have had the experience of like, you can say anything to certain men, and no matter what you say, certain men will agree with you because they want to get into your pants, essentially. It's like you could say the most horrific thing. You could say, like, I'm a serial killer and a cannibal and I have human heads in my fridge. And there's going to be a man out there who is like, haha, that's so funny. So when am I picking you up? Like certain people, if they want one thing from you, they have no standards, they don't care. So they'll just agree with you to get what they want. But this person is not like that. They'll be honest if they disagree with something. And that's not me saying this person is always right. In fact, I think you will probably challenge each other when it comes to your beliefs and things like that. But they're not just going to agree with you for the sake of it. And that could be something that maybe some of you aren't used to when it comes to dating. Maybe you're used to having people just nod along and you actually like it when somebody challenges you. This could be someone a little bit younger than you, although that does not have to apply. This could be somebody who you met in education, college, university, or on a placement, or maybe they work in education, or they're a teacher, or they work in that kind of field, or as some kind of educator. This is definitely someone who is very book smart. I keep getting the phrase book smart. Maybe this is someone where it's going to take a little while for them to officially make a move. Like they lay the foundations for a while before taking it to another level. And that's why I say for a lot of you, it could be somebody you're already talking to or you've known for a while, although I know that won't apply for everyone. This could also be someone who is interested, I don't want to say in health fads, but maybe in experimenting with certain health kicks. Maybe they advocate for taking certain supplements, or they make a lot of smoothies, or they always make the effort to have a healthy, protein filled breakfast or something like that. I mean, that could even be something you guys argue a little about or you disagree on at times. Like maybe you follow one lifestyle and this person follows a different one, and they're like, you should try this. And you try to make them understand, like, just because that one thing works for you doesn't mean it works for everyone. And they're a little bit confused by that because they're like, well, I do it and it works for me, so it must be good. They can be a bit set in their ways when it comes to stuff like that. But I think you kind of challenge their perspective. So let's get on to the next few cards. Let's have a look at why this person wants to take you out or make you their boo. What is it about you that has them feeling that way? Okay, so we have got the Nine of Pentacles. We have got the Two of Wands. We've got the Emperor. And we have got the Four of Cups. This person thinks very, very highly of you with this Nine of Pentacles. I think we did say it in the Oracle, but you could be just a little bit older than this person. The Nine of Pentacles can sometimes indicate a mature woman. That doesn't have to be you, of course, but it could just be they see you as very knowledgeable, or they see you as someone who, in a way, like understands things better than they do. They see you as very sophisticated. I think they like the way you carry yourself, the way you come across, how put together you are. They feel as though there's something very graceful and elegant about you. And on a physical level, if you're all worried about attraction, this person finds you incredibly beautiful. They might even put you on a bit of a pedestal. Like they think you deserve to be treated like a queen or a king. And it's not that you don't, like you definitely do, pal five, but I think it's like sometimes this person gets nervous that you wouldn't want them. Or they think like, oh, pal five is so much more knowledgeable or more worldly wise than I am. They might see you as independently successful, like you know how to take care of yourself, you've got your life together, maybe you've got your own place or your own car, or if you don't, that's just how you come across to this person. It's like they look at you and even just your attitude kind of radiates. This person knows what they're about, like they have their shit together. I actually think this person really, really admires you. They could come across you at a time when those things apply. If that is not you now, perhaps it will be in the future. If that doesn't feel like you right now, we could be talking about a version of you in the future, but it also could be like you right now at this moment in time. You're coming across as somebody who has worked hard for the things they have, and now you can kind of indulge in life's pleasures a little bit. I also think that they like that you come across as somebody who is quite self controlled, or you have a certain amount of self discipline that perhaps they feel might be lacking in other people. I don't think this person really appreciates people who are overly loud or maybe a little bit brazen in terms of the things they say, because this person really thinks before they say things, and I think they consider how they will come across and how it will make the other person feel. So they don't appreciate when people just say things without really considering that. And so they like that you handle social interactions with that kind of decorum. It's not that you won't speak your mind, but it feels like you handle everyone politely. And I think they respect that about you because you know how to be honest without coming across as brash or harsh. And sometimes, if they struggle to articulate themselves in a socially acceptable way, I think that's another reason they kind of put you above them because you're someone who, in some ways, is similar to them in terms of your manners, but you also seem to be able to handle the social side more efficiently. And so they see you as wise. They're like, wow, Path 5 is amazing at handling everything with maturity. I think they think you just come across really well to people. I know this won't apply to everyone, but it could be that you are also neurodivergent, so you might connect over that. And it might be one of the reasons they're drawn to you because certain ways that your brains work are similar, or you share similarities in terms of some of your special interests or your certain views. But maybe they see you as like the more socially proficient one of the two of you. So they view you as kind of the authority when it comes to social interactions. They see you as more knowledgeable than them when it comes to that. And so they might feel like you kind of have the upper hand in that way. And if that does apply, it could be that you kind of bond over some shared struggles that you've had when it comes to neurodiversity. But there's certain ways you are different or your respective neurodiversity manifests differently. And so there might be certain things you clash on or certain things where you're like, I don't quite understand why you think that way or why you did this. But I think on this person's end, you're somebody, regardless of whether the neurodiversity example applies or not to either of you, it certainly doesn't have to. It's like, regardless of that, they see you as someone who has come closer than anyone in terms of giving them a chance and trying to understand them and being cooperative. I feel like in the past, this person's neurodiversity or the way they operate differently to other people, or maybe to some degree their own stubbornness, has caused some clashes when it comes to friendships and relationships because often people get them wrong or they struggle to see their perspective. And it feels like they consider you somebody who really tries to understand them and somebody who gives them the benefit of the doubt, but also somebody who encourages them to think of things in a different way. And I think they really value that about you. They feel like you're somebody who is cooperative, like you're both striving for a harmonious connection. And they know that even if they don't articulate themselves in the right way 100% of the time, they know that you won't jump to a conclusion or think badly of them. So they feel like you're somebody who they can kind of unmask with because you won't take what they say the wrong way. Even if you can't fully understand each other all of the time, it's like both of you make the effort to understand each other's communication styles or love languages, and they haven't really experienced that kind of effort before. And I think that's why they're really wanting to make this work with you. They could come to you when they want advice on certain things. They could feel like you know best, or they can depend on you to give good advice or be there for them at the very least in a friendship capacity. They could feel like you're also very knowledgeable and you have a skill set that they really admire. You could even be some kind of authority figure in their lives. Of course, that does not have to apply, but it's like they're seeing you as this emperor. So maybe they see you as kind of looking after them or keeping them on the straight and narrow or checking them a little when they interpret something wrong. If you're a boss, this could be an employee or a past employee. It doesn't have to be that. This could be someone who started a job after you and you're training them, even if you guys are on the same or a similar level, and they feel as though you've been really patient and understanding with them or that you keep them out of trouble. Or you could be the senior leader on a team, or you're an authority figure in terms of something that you and them are part of, even if it's in an online community and you have an important role when it comes to one of your shared hobbies. It's like this person feels as though they can come to you and like you're the voice of reason. I feel like with this Four of Cups, this person will fantasize and daydream about this for a long time before they take any action officially. I feel like maybe they can be a little bit of a procrastinator, or they put things off, or they have self doubts when it comes to taking the lead. It might take them a while to push past some of these fears and take that chance with you. I think they're going to be dwelling on things and overthinking things for a while before they take that leap. They might be yearning for you for quite some time. I think they think about you a lot, like way more than what you could imagine. So let's take a look at this date. We're going to be looking at the before, during, and after of this experience. So this is all about your date, maybe more about how you're feeling or how this person's feeling, and the general vibe of this encounter. Let's see what we pull for you, pal 5. Okay, so we have got the Four of Swords. We have got the Three of Cups. We have got the Nine of Cups. We got the Six of Pentacles. We've got the Queen of Swords. We've got the King of Cups. We've got the Eight of Pentacles. And we've got the Ten of Cups. So one thing I will say is that this person is going to be getting themselves a little bit worked up when it comes to taking the plunge and asking you out. And I think the reason I haven't been getting much clarity when it comes to the location of the date itself is because I think this person is going back and forth, or is going to be going back and forth when it comes to what they want to do or where they want to take you. And obviously, we always say energies can change, nothing is set in stone. But it feels like in the end, this person might just ask you to meet them somewhere local or somewhere that you've been 1,000 times before. And maybe at the time in your mind, you think that not that much thought has gone into it because that's somewhere that you always go. So maybe you're thinking like this is a little bit off the cuff. But actually, a lot of thought will have gone into this beforehand, like way more than you know. And we know, this person will be thinking of you a lot with that Four of Cups that we got when we looked at the last few cards. But this is a person who has kind of considered every eventuality here. They think about every little detail. So maybe they thought to themselves, oh, we could go here, but last time when I went here, it said it was open online, but then I got there and it wasn't open. And what if that happens again and it ruins the date? Or they're like, what if I take Pal 5 to this really fancy place, but then it puts too much pressure on us, or it makes them uncomfortable? Or what if it would be weird to put this much effort into a first date and they think that I'm obsessed with them? Or something like that. So it's like they come up with all these big ideas and then talk themselves out of it because they don't want anything to go wrong here. And I also think they care a lot about making you feel comfortable too. So in the end, maybe they're like, right, well, let's just meet at this local pub or local restaurant, because if we meet at 8, we know the pub shuts at 11. So if Pal 5 isn't into me, at least they know that it's only going to be a few hours that they have to spend with me. Or even if it's like this person is kind of a fussy eater, or they know that you are, it could be that they've thought, what if I don't like the menu, or what if Pal 5 doesn't like the menu? At least I know that they like this specific restaurant, or whatever the case may be. Basically, it might not seem like they've put a great deal of thought into it initially, but I think they really have. This is a person who is a chronic overthinker, it seems like, and it can probably be kind of exhausting being in their brain. But honestly, I think they're absolutely bricking it when they ask you out. Like, they really have to psych themselves up to do it. They have to be in the right place, physically, mentally, emotionally, to garner up that confidence. And it feels like once they've done it and you've said yes or whatever, I'm thinking of the original imagery on the Rider-Waite-Smith Four of Swords. It's like this person can just lie down and be like, for you. And also, a detail that I'm getting, it's like once you say yes, once you agree to the date, they might pause after that message and not reply for a few minutes because they need time to process you saying yes. And they're kind of like, oh my God, I just need to lie down for a moment. I need to not ruin this. And I'm just picturing them like lying really still. And I'm saying message because I do think for most of you it will be initiated by some kind of text message or DM at first, at least. I'm also getting that for many of you after the date, this is a person who really needs time to process and have their space. And I don't mean that they're going to go silent or ghost you or anything like that. I actually think that you're both quite similar in this regard. You could get drained by social interactions quite easily. So even when you enjoy spending time with someone, you could both be people who kind of need a lot of downtime to recuperate from being around others. So this could be a person where, like, if you have a plan to hang out with them, they might kind of struggle with changes of plan. So I don't know, it's just one example. Let's say you guys have a meal together and then this person is like, "Oh, I'm thinking about seeing this particular movie." If you were like, "Oh, well, it says this movie is showing in like an hour at this local cinema, so would you like to go?" If that's not what you guys have discussed previously, this person might be the kind of person who is like, no, sorry, I have to get home. And you might interpret that as them not being into you, but it's not that at all. It's just this person kind of meticulously plans in their head what they're going to do. And it's like they kind of need that time and space to go home and be alone and rest and process all the events of the meal you just had. They can't add a cinema trip to their list of things to do. And it's not because they don't want to spend more time with you, it's just that maybe they can't do a lot all in one go. And they really want to be able to bring their A game when it comes to socializing with you. They want to be present and engage with you because they truly value you. Or some of you could worry, like if, for example, you're out having drinks and you're like, "Oh, my friends have just messaged me and they're at this other bar. Do you want to go and meet them?" This person could be like, no, thank you. And you might think, like, are they ashamed of me? Why don't they want to come and meet my friends? But it's not that. It's just this person kind of struggles with surprises and abrupt changes to their plans. They like to prepare for everything, basically. And I know it's not realistic to be able to prepare for absolutely everything. And I'm sure this is something this person will come to terms with. And you might be someone who helps them change their perspective a little when it comes to that. But this is just the energy I'm reading of like when you guys first meet and when you go on a first date. And this person's intentions, I will say, are definitely coming across as very pure. Their heart is in the right place. It could just be that when you first meet, they still have a little bit of maturing to do, but I think they are prepared to work on this. I just think they've had a lot of connections or social experiences in the past that didn't go well, or they felt like they failed at. So it's like they want everything to be perfect when it comes to you. They don't want to disappoint you. So if they said they don't want to meet your friends, it's not because they think they're not going to like your friends. I think they want more than anything to be accepted and to be liked by you and the people close to you. So I think it's more like they're scared of making a fool of themselves, or they're scared that your friends won't like them. They don't want to make a bad impression. So they feel like, if they were to meet your friends or your loved ones, they have to prepare for that before doing it. And it's not so that they can be fake or put on a persona, but it's just so they can be present and come across how they want to come across. And if their social battery is drained or they're feeling overwhelmed, they know they're not going to make a good impression on people and they don't want to put you in that kind of uncomfortable position. With this Three of Cups, it is very possible that you bump into someone you know whilst you're on this date. As one example, if this is drinks in your local pub, maybe someone who mutually knows you or this person or both of you passes by your table and says hi or stops to chat or sits with you for a minute. That could just be a little extra detail for a specific person here. It does feel like drinks might be flowing and it might enable this person to loosen up a little bit if that applies. If you don't drink, obviously don't take that, but that's for a group of you here. With this Nine of Cups, I think you're both going to be feeling very optimistic on this date. I think it's going to take place at a time where you're both feeling confident. With these cups coming through, it could be that you and this person are being a lot more emotionally open with one another. Like maybe this person is being more expressive in terms of their feelings. It feels like you're both entertaining each other and having a good time. A conversation is flowing and it's very cheerful vibes. This person could even tell you that they've been wanting to do this for a long time. They could express that taking you out is kind of like a wish fulfillment for them. You could both feel like it's a triumph to be out on this date. This person, because they finally get the initiative to actually do the asking, and maybe you, because you feel like the feelings have been there and this is a long time coming, and you're like, finally, you did it, or something along those lines. Both of you are very much like, I'm glad we're here now. That is the overall vibe. The Nine of Cups can also be about sensuality and about pampering. So, this could involve the spa or a jacuzzi. I guess that's kind of more of an extravagant first date. So, if it's not that, it could be that this person wants to take you to the spa at some point, or they're going to surprise you with that for a special occasion if you guys are already together. It could even be that, like, one person here goes to the spa a lot, and maybe when you first meet this person, you're like, "Oh, have you ever been to the spa?" And they're like, "Oh, no, that's not for me. I don't think I'd enjoy that." And maybe it's like you change their mind when it comes to something like that. And when you eventually go together, they're like, "Oh, actually, I really enjoyed doing this." Doesn't have to be with the spa specifically, but that's something I'm getting. They can be a little bit fixed or stubborn at first, and then you show them kind of a new way of being. It could just be that this person is going to make you feel pampered and taken care of, and like you don't have to worry about anything on this date. Maybe it is something involving the senses, like eating tasty food, maybe a tasting menu or something, or trying different wines with each course, as one example. I feel like there's something about words of affirmation here, and I think it goes back to what we were saying about this person maybe being a bit more emotional with you. because I don't think it has to be this super huge confession of hidden love, but I feel like there's some acknowledgement of this person's gratitude toward you in some way. I think this person doesn't always say exactly how they're feeling, and so on this date, they could say something to you like, I know I'm not always the easiest person to deal with, but you've always been really understanding, or you've always given a really good advice. It's something like that where they make it clear they're thankful that you've given them a chance or that you've been kind to them when other people haven't, or something like that. I also feel like the conversation will be equal give and take. This won't be someone who is talking about themselves for the whole entire date. If they go off on a tangent, they're going to be like, sorry for just talking about me. Let's talk about you. Like, tell me about this. I also think they're going to tell you that you really make them feel valued. Maybe they feel like you understand their perspective, or they say to you, I feel like you always get where I'm coming from, or something along those lines. You guys could also bring little gifts for each other on this day, or they surprise you with a small token of their appreciation. I think they're going to be complimenting you quite a bit, and they might be more talkative than usual. And this could surprise you because maybe you initially thought they weren't that into you, or you thought there were certain things that you did that they didn't really notice, but they're making it clear that they do notice you, or certain changes that you've made to your appearance, or something that you've done differently. Like, this might not be the kind of person you'd expect to comment if you got a haircut or if you dressed a little bit differently, but on this date, they acknowledge it and they might point out that they really like it or something like that. Or they could tell you something that they've never told you before. And I feel like it's something that has something to do with a specific detail about you. So they could say to you, like, oh, I notice you always do XYZ. And it's this small thing, but it's actually really sweet that they've picked up on it and that they remember it. It could just be something small, like, oh, I noticed you had a Pokemon pencil case 3 months ago at work, so that's why I brought you this Pikachu pen. And they present you with a token gift like that. I think you're both making each other laugh and you're being truthful and candid with one another. I think they're telling you how much they appreciate you being honest because maybe in the past they've struggled with connections where they have to spend too much time reading between the lines. They make it clear that they really like the way you approach conversations and your directness or your authenticity. I think you like this about them too, that they don't just tell you everything you want to hear. They'll be direct, but they can say it in a kind of amusing way. I think this person will have sort of quietly noticed these things about you in the time that you've known them, but maybe you're only finding out about some of these things on this date. And it's like then you're seeing this more sensitive, compassionate side of them. Maybe it's a side you haven't seen a lot of before this date happens. And it kind of solidifies for you that this person does care about you and they are very much into you. I think you're seeing a much more romantic side of them, especially if this is someone who doesn't have a ton of relationship experience and they're not really used to dating someone. They actually do a really great job of making you feel special and appreciated. I think also being a great listener and having a sweet, maybe slightly awkward charm about them, but it's something you find really endearing. I don't know why, but I'm getting a detail about this person. This is someone who I know we said earlier was maybe like slow to react to certain things, but they're processing everything, but they don't always react straight away. So, in one of the piles I did today, the person that we were speaking about, I said was somebody who like is very expressive and who is easily startled. This is more the kind of person where, like, if you were to jump out at them and try and surprise them, they'd be like blank faced or they wouldn't react straight away. I don't know, that is just a detail that I'm getting for someone here. It like takes them a moment to react. And it's not that they're slow, it's just that they have so much information going on in their brain to try and process and work through. This person on this date could be telling you about their family or loved ones, sharing stories about things that them and their friends get up to. And again, I think this really endears you to this person. They could also be opening up about things they value and prioritize when it comes to relationships, and the two of you are in agreement when it comes to those things. I think with this Ten of Cups, both of you are going to be feeling really happy with how this date has gone, and I think you both see a future and a lot of potential with one another. I think this person feels very safe with you. You make them feel comfortable. You make them feel understood or like they're not so weird. They could see themselves building something solid and stable with you. They could see you being a part of their home life or family. It seems like this person makes it very clear with this Eight of Pentacles that you're the one that they're focused on. I think they're going to make it clear after this date that their attention is firmly on you. I don't think this is a person who really dates around, so when they find something good, I think they're loyal to that. They're very committed and dedicated to it. And I think they know after this date that they want to keep chipping away at this. Like, they're not trying to do anything too fast, but I think they make it clear, like, you're the priority pal five. You're the person this person wants to make plans with, and they want to dedicate time and energy to building this connection solidly with you. They're going to make it very clear that they are thinking about you and that they want to see where this situation goes. So that's what I'm getting for the tarot portion of your reading. We are just going to finish this reading off by looking at a card from the True Love Oracle. Okay, Pile 5, we have got number 13, Emotional Freedom. Yeah, I feel like this person has had a hard time when it comes to expressing themselves with other people in the past. It seems like they've tried to articulate themselves and people have taken them the wrong way or misinterpreted what they're saying or misunderstood them or made them feel wrong for expressing some of the thoughts and feelings that they have. But there's this sense of home with you. There's this sense that they can just feel safe expressing what they need to express. They don't feel like you'll judge them for it. They don't feel like you'll tear them apart. They feel like, although you have your differences, you do understand them at a fundamental level and you kind of give them a safe space to, like we said, unmask and be honest. You're one of the few people they're going to feel comfortable showing that side of themselves to. Like we said, this person doesn't really have a large social circle, and this isn't something they do with many people. They don't open up to people in a lot of ways. So, them sharing some of the things they do with you is a massive privilege. They know that you don't always share the exact same beliefs and you don't agree on every single thing ever, but they feel like you're someone they can come to and you won't fly off the handle or you won't assume the worst in them. They feel like you're someone they can have discussions with even when you don't see eye to eye 100% of the time. In terms of the number on this card, we could be looking at a time frame for this day or for some kind of encounter with this person. So the 13th of a month could be significant here. This could be you hearing from this person in 1 to 3 days, or this person asking you out in 13 days, or 1 to 3 weeks or months. This could be an age gap of 1 to 3 years, or somebody's date of birth being the 13th of a month, or the 13th of a month is when you go on a date. These details don't have to apply, but it's just a little bit of extra confirmation if they do. Also, what I wanted to say with the unicorn on this card, I do think there's something very unique and very special about this person, and they might not be your usual type. They might not be quite what you're used to, but they are very, very beautiful in their own way. And in the right hands, they can really prove themselves to be a very loyal and dedicated partner who is willing to grow and learn alongside you. I'm getting something about like you make this person feel, I can't remember what this quote is, but you'll have heard it before. It's like, well, it's not this exact quote, but it's something like, in the past, this person has felt like they were a unicorn in a room full of horses, and the people who they were around have made them feel like they were just an incorrect horse. But there's something where you make them see the potential in their uniqueness. And there's something with you where they encounter you and they're like, oh, I found another unicorn. And this Power 5 person is kind of showing me what's possible for unicorns and that we're beautiful too. So I guess this could apply if like both of you identify as neurodivergent or both of you have always felt a little bit different or othered in some way. There's something about that here. I can't remember what that quote is and it's going to really annoy me. It's nothing like what I said, but I hope you can kind of understand what I was trying to get across. It's like this person wasn't ever a defective horse. They were a unicorn all along and they just needed somebody to also be a unicorn alongside them. It's a quote about like not fitting in. And at the start of this relationship with this person, as much as sometimes it might be frustrating initially because this person is different to what you've experienced before, there's also so many things that make them different that are also amazing things that will allow you to feel a different kind of love that you've never felt before, maybe a deeper love. It's different in the most beautiful, amazing way. So that is what I'm getting for the tarot portion of your reading, part 5. I really, really hope you enjoyed this reading today. If you did like the reading, please do me a massive favour. Please like the video. Please comment if you get a chance. Let me know what resonated. Or if you don't want to tell me what resonated, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, please just let me know which pile you picked. Go ahead and claim the pile if you want it to be yours. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. I am slowly making my way to 1,000 subs, so I notice every single new subscriber. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. Take care of yourself and I'll see you in the next one, Pile 5.